you, David Spry Phillips. Look at this. Flight number 2. This is the Voodoo P-51, 1.1 meter. Beautiful by FMS. Got the reflex installed. We're flying it today on 2700 4S. Got a little voltage alarm in there. And on our first flight, we flew on 2200, got about 5 minutes. We'll see how this does. A little bit more nose heavy. We pretty much put it in there where it fits. It's the only way it'll go. Throttle cuts off, here we go. Beautiful chrome on the spinner. Okay, here we go. Oh man, that is incredible, guys. Talk about ups. So cool, over the Eagle killing zone. Love the noise it makes. Boy, that thing looks sweet, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to see if I can bring it under the power lines here. Okay, you good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Full throttle. I only just barely squeezed out the full throttle and then down the runway. Man, that is so cool. Manned aircraft way up there. I checked. Okay, here we go. Coming around the Eagle killing zone. Straight up and down. Oh man, that was pretty close to the ceiling. So guys, I can say this. The manual calls for 35C. I'm on a 30C. We're gonna see how this 2700 4S does. Our first flight was on a 50C 2200. Feel like our expo settings are gorgeous on this thing. I do feel inclined to be at near 100% throttle. I feel like 4S definitely gets you rocking and rolling on this thing. Going with the wind about 70–80% throttle. I just feel like this thing wants to fly so fast. And then all the way up and over, out of the throttle, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Oh, look at that thing slow down. Now watch this. Keep it in the throttle, about 30%. Let's just do a slow pass for you. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. The flight envelope is tremendous on this plane. Took it up over the power lines there. Probably could have gone under, but just kind of playing it safe because a little bit of gustiness from the left or right. Okay, here we go, full speed pass. Let's do this thing like it's designed to do. Right overhead, yellow looks sweet on the bottom of this plane. In fact, inside loop just so you can see it. On the inside this time. Oh yeah, that reflex has that thing locked in. Folks, we do not have auto leveling on a channel right now, meaning we don't have any way to turn the reflex from stabilization only to auto leveling. Hope you guys saw the shadow on the hay pile there. That was pretty sweet. 100% throttle there. We're gonna take a hard turn. Love the scream this plane makes. Straight up, straight back down. That's about 50% stick input with a 35% expo, I believe. Right over the flag. Man, look at that thing getting fought with the wind. Okay, out of the flaps altogether. I was in takeoff flaps on that slower pass there under the power lines. Just kind of cruising, idling along over the Eagle killing zone and straight down the runway. Here we go, straight up. Nice roll. Oh man, that thing is just gorgeous. Cornhole it at the top, let it stabilize, and then get her flying out of the throttle, obviously, the whole time there. Full speed. Man, this plane is a joy to fly. I really like flying it. I didn't know what I was gonna think. I know it's a high performance, like a pylon flying plane in real life. That's what it's modeled after. And it definitely does everything that it's supposed to do. But boy, it is well refined. I can't hardly believe how good it's flying. This is a V2, I guess. I don't know what the V1 was, but I can tell you this one is great. The only complaint I have so far about this entire plane is the fact that it has cornhole, under throttle, Man, that's so cool. The only complaint I have about this plane is that it has an EC5 for the stock connector, which required us to make an adapter. And obviously an adapter is always kind of a pain, but let's be honest, it's not that big of a pain. And with an 80 amp ESC, you're not gonna tend to find an XT60 unless it's one of those Chinese brands. And then they'll do it all day long. It's so cool. Gotta love it. She's counting down our time with a little bit of wind, a little bit more aggressive flying. I'm thinking I might. That was our 5 minute, just went off. Okay, here we go. Down the runway, you good? Mm-hmm. Okay. With the wind too, folks. Man, that looks so good. Okay, I wanna try a landing. We may end up just kind of taking it. Takeoff flaps are deployed, about 30% throttle, full landing flaps coming in, gear popping out now. Camera crew, 4 steps to your right. Perfect right there. Just to be on the safe side. I might need to kind of crab this or cross control just to kind of, woo! Oh man. Sorry guys, I didn't like the way that was feeling. I got kind of a knockdown at the last second, so we're gonna try it again. The good news is about this plane is you can fly it. You can fly it like you stole it. Okay, gear coming out. I'm in takeoff flaps currently, about 30% throttle into the landing flaps. I've got those things set up as barn doors. Woo! Look at that. Guys, no problem getting away from your bad landing. I'm just gonna go around again. We're gonna try different takeoff flaps this time. No landing flaps, just with the wind. We're getting way too much ground effect popping us up. Man, I smell burning, but I don't think it's us, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Another bounce. What's going on, Brian? Grease that sucker in there. Boy, you smell that burning?
I do.
Boy, I really, really, really don't think that's us because I don't think a plane could burn and smell that strong. Hope it's not our buddy up there working with the skid steer. Okay, this time we're gonna go gear down, full landing flaps. We're just gonna fly it to the ground, about 30% throttle. There we go. There we go. Woo! Full up elevator. Oh man, that is one ugly landing, but it's on the ground. So, also, the other thing is, I don't think they marketed this plane as a STOL plane, but it is so stinking powerful that you can pretty much STOL this thing if you want. And when I say STOL, I mean short takeoff or landing. We're gonna go pause and grab it. Okay, so full disclosure, we're 2 minutes 36.7 past. Took us maybe 30 seconds to walk down here, so 2 plus 5 would be 7 minutes of flight time, okay? Mm-hmm. Throttle holds on. Let's go ahead and pick this up and take a look. Obviously got some bouncy landings. You see my takeoff flaps, I have those set just barely at all. Okay, takeoff, and then landing. I set them as barn doors here, okay? That's how you get that ultra slow flight. Pack is warm, but no puffage. Looks really good. Mm-hmm. I would say we're totally fine there. Let's look at our voltage. It's gonna be hard to show on camera. Oh, shoot, I can't hardly even see. I gotta take my sunglasses off. Okay, so what do we have? 3.56, 3.45, 14 volts. Okay, so 3.52, 3.50, 3.56, and 3.46. Okay, so we're golden, we're basically set. All right, guys, you've got it. That's on 2700 4S. I felt like it flew better in the air, had a little bit more oomph, and I didn't feel like we had such a short flight, because 5 minutes on this plane is not enough to really get up and enjoy it, in my opinion. I feel like you need 7-8 minutes to really fly the thing. And we're flying in higher wind this time, so you can see that it does it, but I'll tell you what, this thing wants to jump off of the ground. So even with your takeoff flaps, you may want to land it in the grass. You know, these landing gear are quite robust. I didn't know what to think. They look like they're pretty small bogies, but to be honest, they've been holding up really nice, and I've been beating the crap out of them. Obviously, there is no oleo. It's just a simulated oleo, but everything's working good. And let's just show you this one more time. Here we go. Gear in, nice clean closure, no problems at all on there. And I know that that is something that we've all experienced. We did have to tighten the screw. Obviously on the tail dragger, it was loose on the actual servo, but no big deal. That took me about 2 seconds. And full disclosure, for our second flight, I brought out a Phillips screwdriver just in case we needed to adjust it. And I probably could adjust it a little bit, but I think what's happening is we're getting a little bit of wind veining as I get that tail up. So I'm not gonna overthink it. I'll wait till I have another calm moment. And looks like our wind is about like this on the runway. So you get up there in wind vane like this, that's about exactly what we had for our takeoff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay guys, great plane. FMS has outdone yourself again. I don't know what V1 had in store because honestly, we never reviewed it, but this thing is awesome. Check the link in the video description below. Buy one for your very own. Obviously, you'll be helping to support our channel if you buy from the various companies that sell this. But on this one's sent to us from FMS directly. So we really appreciate you. There may be a couple of different vendors that are available in the links below. Also, there are 4 finish levels on this. And when I say finish levels, I shouldn't say finish levels. There's 4 liveries, like Miss America.
Dragon
one that's like all red.
And then there's a blue and white.
There's a blue and white, and I forget what that one's called, but this is the Voodoo one.
It's very cool.
And I love this.
Yeah.
The color difference is awesome. I'm usually big on scale finishes that you would see in real life in a World War II warbird. But in this case, I'm gonna make an exception. Awesome. Buy from the links. Support us on Patreon if you want. There's links above. All the rest of that stuff, and then PayPal if you like one-time gifts. But otherwise, don't forget to like the video if you did enjoy it. Stay tuned, we're gonna do the unbox, build, and radio setup, and we appreciate you guys as always. Come back for more. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this, we got the FMS P-51 Voodoo in the 1.1 meter size class. This is the V2. And we are super excited to bring this to you. We have our full unbox build radio setup coming right after the flights. We're gonna actually try it on a smaller pack right now, 2200 4S 50C pack. And this plane is capable of running up to
4,000.
4,000. And we confirmed you can get a 4,000 in there. It has flaps, big flaps if you want them. Of course, it's got all the regular channels, 4 channels. Steerable tail wheel, and this thing is going to be a fast plane. It's got retracts, and it's got that beautiful paint livery, and there is actually 2 other liveries too. All right guys, so we had to reset that on the grass. I reset my timer to 5 minutes, and here goes nothing. We do have safe and AS3X setup. We're in AS3X right now. Oh, beautiful guys. Wow. No trim, gear going up over the Eagle killing zone, a little bit touchy on the elevator. There's full speed, holy cow. Guys, that's 4S, full speed pass here. Wow. Okay, out of the throttle, just glide. That thing looks sweet up there in the sun. No throttle pass here again. Boy, that thing is, it flies on rails, but also it's a little bit touch on the elevator. I'm gonna go up to my highest setting of Expo and just give it a little bit. Watch this, this is about 10% elevator, about 10% down. Yeah, that's way better. So we're gonna have to actually set our elevator. Thing is quiet.
It is.
You can barely hear it.
I know.
Except for the scream, which is awesome. Okay, coming down full speed pass, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that thing scream. We've seen some fast planes. We've seen planes that are a lot faster than this, but at the same time, for the size class, this thing is amazing. Now let's slow it down. I know you guys are thinking, I was still in takeoff flaps. Oh my goodness, that's like sacrilege. This first whole half of the video was in takeoff flaps, folks. Look at that thing slow down. Okay, out of the flaps altogether, full throttle, straight up, obviously unlimited vertical, bringing it back down the pipe. Okay, here we go. Way up there, sorry guys. Trying to let this thing, man, talk about a flyover zone today.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow, do you see all those? You know what we call that? Spring break. Okay, here we go, full speed. Nice flat and level pass. Using the rudder to get it down. That's crazy, it doesn't seem like it was too much slower with the flaps down, the takeoff flaps. Guys, this thing flies great. I think I need a click or 2 of trim down. Feels like we're gaining a little bit of altitude there on a neutral pass. Okay, coming around. We'll try for a real high speed pass. Okay, so guys, this is an FMS. Yes! Look how speedy it is. I just feel like you can ride full throttle the whole time and you'll get a really enjoyable high speed pass after high-speed pass, after high-speed pass. Man, I love the difference in colors. Going from purple.
And there are 3 other trim schemes, 4 total.
Yeah, I said that wrong. Sorry, folks. My camera crew corrected me off camera, and I asked her to remind you guys because I totally said it wrong. One's like Miss America. One is...
There's one that's like an all red almost, but I don't remember what the
Dragon
one is.
something.
Yes.
I do have a voltage alarm in here because this one here does not have the smart telemetry that you might expect in some of the E-flights, because this is just an FMS brand. We do a lot of E-flight stuff. It's not impossible that you would get that confused, folks, if you're new to the hobby. This would probably not be a great new, like, first-time pilot or first-time radio-controlled pilot plane. Okay, full landing flaps and gear coming out. I just want to get into a final and just see how it's going to feel for landing. Oh my goodness, it so slows down beautifully.
Wow.
That is absolutely gorgeous. Out of the gear, out of the flaps, and into the throttle. Feel like we got a little bit more ebb and flow now. All right, I want to do that again coming this way. Full landing flaps. Let's slow it down going downhill. Full landing flaps going downhill out of the throttle in a perfect line here. Got to hit the low point. About 15-20% throttle, a little bit of rudder to get that thing pointed down the runway. And there we are. Didn't like what was happening there. Had a little bit of tailwind. Man, that thing looks so gorgeous. I love the sound. Listen. That silver prop looks so sweet. What is that, a 10-8? 4-bladed prop, looks so scale and realistic. Okay, here we go. One more pass. Breaking away, and then all the way. Oh. Okay, guys, performance planes, don't mess around. Get into your landing final. There comes the gear band. That yellow looks sweet, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, full landing flaps coming out. I'm gonna try to get a little bit better angle here, go toward the trees, and we're gonna bring it around. Woo! Okay, so obviously I plopped that one down. She was counting down my time, as you can see. We're at 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 12 seconds. I'm curious, that was only a 2200 4S, folks. I'm curious with a 2700 or a 4000, how long of a flight you could experience, but goodness gracious, that thing just handled it like a champ. I do need to get a greasy landing, obviously, right? Let's see if we can get one more landing. The alarm went off, but it was probably our pre-alarm. Okay, so we're gonna be real conservative on this. I just can't handle that being my landing. And you guys know we push it to the limit for you here on Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, we love you guys. We are willing to put our planes on the line just to show you how awesome they could do. 50% throttle, lots of rudder to keep the nose pointed this way. Beautiful. I want to try and approach this way. The wind is just kind of like a light, sort of relaxed breeze. I don't even really think I want to call it wind. I want to call it more of like a breeze, like a morning breeze. Okay. These awful landing flaps there. Okay, we're going to try to grease this one in if we can. She is a little bit tricky to get greasy on. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. Let's come back here out of the sun so that we can show. Okay, one thing here that I can say. Dual rates in Expo. We're in our high setting. And what I really want is I want to make that my middle setting now. Okay, we've talked about this before a million times, but we almost never do it. Okay, so ailerons. I'm gonna run this to 20. Then I'm gonna run this to 30. Okay, that's on the aileron setting. And then our lowest setting is going to be what we had. No, we'll just go ahead and leave it in the low setting. And then elevator, I'm actually going to go 25. Then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to like 35. Now, the only reason I'm doing that is just because I feel like I'd like a little bit more. I'd like to take the edge off. The rudder actually felt pretty good, but I'm going to go up to 15 and then I'm going to go up to 25. Just in case. Okay, so the reason I show you that is because we never talk about it. And really, let's go back out to the main screen here. You can see my trim My trim is at 16 plus, so that's very small amount of trim. And I think really what I need to do is I need to go into my flap system and just show you we were at 7 and 10, okay? And negative 100, negative 50, 100. So that's a lot more deployment for landing flaps than it is for takeoff flaps. The takeoff flaps on this plane, I barely want them to be deployed because I just want to get that thing popped off the ground quick. Feels like those landing gear would probably do okay in grass. Our grass is just not really well maintained right now, and it's juicy because it's spring. We had a lot of rain this week, and I don't want to get that thing stuck. You guys can see right here in this patch we've been fighting. Just to give you an idea, we always show you the surroundings just so you get an idea. You can see how wet it is in that area. Yep. That patch has just been a pain in the butt. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's raindrop marks in it because it was raining pretty heavy all Friday. And it's Sunday now. So anyway, the long and short of it is I think we've got a little bit more play to do on this. I can definitely say that lighter pack makes it lighter on its feet, but I think as with other fast planes, my mistake on landings so far, and I'm just trying to critique my own flight, is that I came in and tried to land it. With fast flying planes like this, you're almost better to fly them into the ground, not like into the ground, but into the ground. And I've experienced that with the V1200, which is another really fast plane. Those landing gear are weak though. This thing feels like they're really stout. And in fact, let's go look at them real quick. We'll just do a quick Brian Phillips story time walk. So as you can see, we're off to the side of the road here, and just show them the grass as we go. It's real clumpy and kind of not filled in right now.
Yep.
That's what we get in spring here, and over here is even worse. Yeah. So I just don't want to jeopardize the plane. I don't want to give it a bad appearance because of my crappy yard. Okay, so let's check the landing gear and see how they did. Camera crew, would you mind holding this? Okay. Oh yeah, everything feels stout. Let's see if they work. Oh yeah, buddy. We didn't even show the safe. Ah, what the heck, Brian? Man, that tail wheel looks like it bent. Look at that. Did that bend?
Or is it just the angle that
No, it's loose. That's why it was so squirrely.
Oh.
Feel that?
I see it, yeah.
It spins. Okay, so we have to figure out how to tighten that, and I think I know already. Okay, I would normally hand that to you, but I can't. Okay, look at this, guys. There you go. I gotta tighten that one single screw. Check your screw, make sure you have very good penetration. So we're gonna check that. Also, we did have to make an adapter because this 80 amp ESC has an EC5 on it, and I did not wanna use a non-standard connector on this plane because I think at some point I wanna try to put a 5000 4S in here that just happens to have an EC or an IC5 on it. And I think that'd be sweet. Other thing to keep in mind, this thing does come equipped with the reflex, which is awesome. And that's why we didn't do safe. And I forgot, but we don't have enough channels on an AR620, which is what we used. We outfit this plane with an AR620 because we wanted to hold down the overall cost on this plane. And so keep in mind, when you use the AR630, there's a pretty significant big price increase, and I know you guys know this, but the thing is, we know it too. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the reflex in there, the 630 would probably be the way to go. And the 631 might be nice because this thing will get away from you quick and the antenna might be kind of nice. But if you want to save $5, you know, I think the 630 is supposed to perform just as good. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but the thing is, that's what the manufacturers have been telling us. So overall, great plane, excellent flying. Obviously, I need a little practice. We're going to try to get some more flight footage. Hopefully get some more greasy landings on this because I think it's capable of a greasy landing. I'm just maybe not as capable as I'd like to be. Also, I'd like to fly this on 2700, possibly 4000. So not sure how the day's gonna lay out. And I don't know how the wind is gonna lay out because it was crazy windy all week or it was crazy rainy all week. So we've been trying for like, what, 4 days to get this done. In fact, when we filmed our Unbox build radio setup, we were both sick with cold still. And so if you watch that part of the video and you're like, geez, you guys sound like you went in a time machine, we did, because it's been like 4.5 days. We try to fly these things as quick as we can because we love flying them. But I'll tell you what, man, this week's just been crazy. And look at the beautiful colors. Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna love the colors as much as I do, but boy, that yellow, I love yellow planes, especially this yellow, because it pops in the sun. Look at the distinguishing colors. Yeah. So if you're doing pylon racing with this plane, you know, you're gonna see that bright pop every time there's a turn. So it's just so cool. Really, really excited to bring this to you by FMS. And obviously, as usual, we get paid small commissions from the companies we work with. When you buy planes that we put in our video descriptions, we put links there. We have never hidden behind that. That is the way we fund our channel. If that's too hard for you to understand, I don't really know how else to make it. We can't afford to buy hundreds of planes a year. We just can't, you know? That's just not the way it works in our life. Maybe you can, but we can't. So if you love this plane, then buy it from the link in the video description below. You'll help us out. Also, give us a like, smash the like button. You'll help us out in that way. We do the long format videos because we know you guys demand them, and nobody else is really doing the long format videos. YouTube hates it, but we know you guys love it. So we do it for you. And then also, special thanks to our Patreons. We had a Patreon go to bat for us this week. And so I don't even want to say your name because you might be embarrassed.
But we appreciate it. No,
but we do.
But we appreciated it.
We appreciated it. It was super cool. And we actually have that all the time. And you guys that are just watching at home on the couch, you know, for the first time, you probably don't realize this, but it's strangely competitive market trying to share the joy of RC. I don't understand why, but it is. And we love doing it for you. We're not the best, we're not the biggest, and we don't intend to be either of those things, but we're just gonna bring it to you the way we see it. And so a special thanks to our Patreons. If you want to become one, we have a link at the top of the video description below. Also, we have PayPal for those of you that don't like monthly support. And it's also one of the most direct ways to give us funding if that's what you're after. Or maybe you just don't like Patreon eking fees out of your gifts to us. That's a big part of it for us. So anyway, we really appreciate you guys. However you want to support us, the biggest thing you can do is just buy these awesome planes and be happy and enjoy them and fly them. And then come back here after a crash and learn how to fix it, because I probably crashed it too. And there's just so much fun involved here, and we want you guys to get into it. If you're sitting on the couch and you haven't started flying yet, what are you waiting for? You won't live forever. Start now. If that means starting now by going back and watching some beginner videos, beginner planes that look like they might be a little easier to fly, like high wings, a little bit slower, things like that. This is obviously not a beginner plane because it's so fast and touchy. It is an amazing plane, by the way, but it is definitely not for the faint of heart, beginner noob, because you're probably gonna be a one and done. And that's the other big thing we try to do on this channel, is prevent one and dones. One and dones are people that buy planes that are way too advanced for where they need to be, and then they crash, and they hate the industry, and they never come back, and they go back to playing on their tablet or playing video games, or, you know, whatever it is that you guys do, like sports. Anyway, sorry, that was a nerd joke because I'm one of those things. So anyway, there's lots of things to consider. Some people that are into aviation also do sports. I get it. But anyway, not all of us can be that cool. So stay tuned. So much more to come. This plane, the Voodoo trim right here, looks absolutely amazing. Okay? Love the chrome. Enjoy it while it lasts the first time you nose it over, which, by the way, this thing sits so far back, I don't think you're gonna nose it over. You'll probably hit the prop on the ground because it sits so low.
Yeah.
Secondly, keep that in mind, it does sit pretty low. So if you've got grass and it's uncapped, you're probably not gonna be able to do grass landings. The thing that's cool about this is watch how hard it would be to do a launch. Right like that, full throttle, boom, you're in the air. Also, if you wanna use the auto leveling, which is integral in the reflex, you can set it with dip switches, or I don't know if they're dip switches or jumpers. We didn't do it, and I'm sorry, we didn't do it because we didn't have the channels to command and control that, and I didn't want to give up flaps or retracts, and I didn't want to tie it to those two. But if you decide you want to do that, you can throw a Y cable into either the flaps or the gear, and then just make sure that that output matches what you need. So you may also need to buy a servo signal reverser. You could put it on the opposite side of that Y cable, so that, like, say you want the safe on when the flaps are up, or you want the safe on when the flaps are down. Well, you don't necessarily know what condition these are gonna come out, okay? So if you get the servo signal reverser, you plug that into the one side and it reverses that signal side. The other side can then command and control the reflex, okay? So that's just a tip if you didn't already know how to do that. Ask me in the comments below, I can talk a little bit more about it. Also, definitely stay tuned. There's so much more coming, guys. It's spring 2022. All the crap that got backlogged from COVID is about ready to explode. And hopefully not on the containers, but out of the containers and into your UPS packages, FedEx packages, DHL packages, whatever carrier you use, US Postal Service, whatever. The point is, they're about ready to explode onto your doorway so you can hide them from your wife. It's coming soon. be prepared. Stay tuned. YouTube, Brian Phillips. We have a box. We haven't opened a new box for like 7 or 8 days. I'm in withdrawal. You guys have already seen it fly, and we're just gonna open it up and see if we agree with how awesome the flight went. So, this is a plane that you have seen a few times, but in a different configuration. And so I'm quite excited. This is the 1100 millimeter P-51 V2 Racing. I think we have the Voodoo one.
I think
P-51 by FMS. FMS. All right, so we're gonna see how this goes. I have no idea what to expect here. I'm actually sort of torn because I kind of like this. See all the colors? I didn't know which one I liked the best, but I kind of like the Red Dragon and the Voodoo. And I believe we got the Voodoo one here. That's what they told us, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's marked down here.
So FMS has brought us a bunch of great planes. This is an 1100 millimeter size. So I'm not 100% sure what to expect. And this is a racing plane, so it's supposed to be super fast. So I'm excited to see, oh, yep, it says Voodoo on the end.
Yep.
Okay, so we're excited. Let's just go ahead and get into this thing.
And this does have the reflex.
This has a reflex, which is basically a stabilizer, and so you just need a simple receiver, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah. So I'm excited. It does have retracts, does have flaps, which again, basically like 2 of my main criteria for most planes. And an 1100 millimeter size class, that's a little bit unusual.
Yeah.
Now I think it's probably gonna be close to a 1200 millimeter warbird size, but it just happens to have shorter wings. And I think that's so it can be super fast, but I'm not sure about that. Ooh. Huh.
Yep.
I didn't expect it to be that color. It's so strange. They got this blue backdrop here. That is bright green, really cool. Pinch hinge design, surprisingly. You're not gonna be able to see all the reinforcements in here, but there's a reinforcement here. Vertical carbon fiber rod, and then of course the joiner, ball joint, and then another carbon fiber. Yeah, that's carbon fiber in there. And then this receives a screw, which is really cool. Okay, so horizontal stabilizers, just gonna pop those both out right now. Okay, same thing. The pinch hinge surprises me. Seems like, I suppose you get into the size class and, you know, there's only so much you can do for weight. Let's see how this goes together. Really nice fit between the 2 elevator halves. The paint is a little bit bindy, which I'm not excited about, but again, not a big deal at all. And we got some instructions here. Let's go ahead and pop these out real quick. So obviously, if you guys want to help support us, you've already seen this thing fly. I'm sure it flew great. If it's an FMS, they generally are good planes. Then it just gets down to preference issues. Okay, note, before updating the program, apply power to the reflex unit using ESC. What? That's interesting. Reflex system overview. Okay, so show them that. This is the addendum. I don't know how you would do that without powering it up. It's kind of like, turn the car on before updating the program to the car. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so here's the regular manual, which is really clean and simple to follow through. Of course, in this case, this is a plug and fly, so you do have to provide your own receiver, which we're gonna be using this real quick. I know I'm kind of pausing the unbox for a second because we talked about this at the beginning. This is gonna be just a regular AR620. And an AR620 doesn't have a stabilizer, but it does have some super basic telemetry functions and an integral antenna, which is nice. So it should be really easy to slap in there. And then of course the NX8, which has been working really good for us. And you could use a variety of different choices, but that's what we're gonna use today. Let's just blast through this real quick. It looks like we talk about putting the tail on, then the wings on, then mount the ball joints, and you have to CA in that. We'll probably use foam to foam, put the prop on. Boy, this is gonna be super simple.
Yeah.
It looks really easy. Okay, cool. And then the center of gravity is at 70 to 80 millimeters back from the leading edge, where the leading edge meets the fuse. So we'll look at that here in a minute. And why don't we just come back to the instructions if necessary. Packaging looks robust like usual from FMS. And definitely they obviously know how to make a plane. All right, so this says 45-5. I don't know what that means. Must be one of their mold. Whoa, there's something in here. Okay, so if you guys are opening this, be careful. Oh, it's a prop. Oh. Sweet. I like that. Okay, so we got a 10.85 prop, which is the same size that the E-flite version was using. So that's really nice. So if you have old E-flite planes that have a 10.85, you can use that. Okay, cool. Foam to protect the foam. Got a tape. A lot of tape holding all this together, which is good. I don't think we've had an issue with packaging from any plane company though. There's a bag in here we gotta grab here shortly. Whoa. Carbon fiber wing joiner for the horizontal stabilizer. Thick carbon fiber too. And some foam balls. Then we have a USB-A to USB-C cable. That's interesting. I wonder what that's for.
If that goes with that, whatever this programming thing
for the reflex. Okay. Then we've got these, which are basically like a vertical stabilizer that goes on the outboard portion of the wing. It's almost like a winglet, but it's actually inboard from the end. So it's just, I think it helps go straight quicker. Not quicker, but just straight, period. Okay, so we got an antenna and then nut and bolt sack, as you're used to seeing. And then, of course, the spinner adapter at the end. So that's gonna help hold on the prop. And then while we're talking about the spinner, why don't we go ahead and cut out the spinner. This spinner is silver and beautiful. So, but I'm struggling to kind of get the tape released. Oh yeah, that is so pretty. Cool. I love that it doesn't match the finish of the plane because that is so pretty, having that chrome finish on it. Mm-hmm. I wonder how it's gonna hold up. I bet it's gonna be white underneath, so if you do chip it or scratch it, it's gonna show up like a, that is just really beautiful though.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool. It's gonna look sweet with this prop in there too. Definitely attention getter. That's so sweet. Yeah. Okay, cool, so let's keep going. All right, foam to protect the foam from the foam. Always gotta watch out for that. Looks like digital Metal Gear servos. All four of them in the wing are. Okay, so the wing is stuck. So I'm gonna just pull on the edge of the box here a little bit. Really, really nice finish. Everything is just really nice. Look at this. You don't have to mess with much of anything. Look how nice these things. This match on color is perfect.
Yeah, it is. That's really nice.
And then they've got a connection point between the 5, which is nice. So if you've got that absence, it's a plush finish on that. Digital Metal Gear servos, ball joints for everything. Goodness gracious, we have just come so long in this short period of time. Okay, look at this. We've got all these connection points, little breakout board that goes into the receiver, so it makes it easy to put the wing on and off. Reinforcement for the landing gear on the top side of the wing. That's only 1,100 millimeters. Man, that is crazy. Perfect dihedral, just a little teeny bit, just kind of help make it fly really good. Big flaps compared to the ailerons. I like the way that looks. The scale is very good in my opinion. Okay, so we'll just keep unpacking. The foam density on this package is really light. That's why you're seeing all these foam balls. Oh. See this? They must have had a weight issue going on, so they must have ordered these extra light. But it seems to be nice and strong. Okay, so I'm just pulling this out and just trying to be real careful because sometimes they get caught when you're pulling them out. Okay. Oh my goodness, get out of there. That's weird, the wing was kind of stuck in there too.
Yeah.
And you can see that they dragged, on the way in, they dragged the mount for the prop. So I'm holding on to the servo and just kind of yanking out. I can't think of a better way to do it. But look how nice the finish is on this. This thing is really heavy. It's probably got a huge motor on it. That is beautiful. Look at the simulated exhaust vents. That's so cool. Or the headers, rather. And here's the ESC. Oh, it's huge.
That's crazy.
And then, of course, the wires are going up front, so I'm going to leave them up there. Okay, so this paint is chipping off, but that's going to be hidden, so that should be no problem. It looks super, super nice. These decals aren't applied on the corners because these rivets are so big. Very, very beautiful. Looks like we still have a pinch hinge, but it looks like if you look really close, there is string. You see that, guys? I don't understand that. I've never seen that before. Is that in my head or is that like actually there? See that? Show them that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's just a string. Huh. That's so weird. I haven't seen that before. I wonder if it's a thing, if they're embedding string in there. But either way, really beautiful. Humongous motor, which is awesome. I can barely turn it, which means it's going to be super powerful. And just loving the decals are applied. I don't have to do anything. Although the decals do hide the rivets. So if you want to see the rivets, you're going to have to go through and really work this stuff. You see what I'm talking about there, guys? So I don't know if that's a problem for you. It's certainly not for me, but look how intricate these detailed designs are. That's 2 separate stickers. And then the tail wheel looks, it's got the simulated gear door, which I like the simulated gear door, but I'm not sure what to think, how that's, you know, it's funny. First couple of times I got a retractable tail wheel on a P-51, P-51 1.5E flight, I believe was the first one. And I just thought it was gonna be the best thing since sliced bread. I never even noticed it. These tail wheels don't get noticed. Okay, cool, there's the reflex. You don't even have to mount it.
Wow.
That's really nice. We've got the elevator plugged in. We've got the throttle plugged in. We've got the rudder plugged in. A little bit of overspray on that. That looks like a different servo. Is that not Metal Gear? It's a digital. I can't tell, it's a different one, but it's smaller. So that's for the rudder, which would be the least critical one. And that does run the tail wheel and the rudder, which is not unusual. What do we have for an end? Oh boy. Okay, so that's got an EC5. So we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do on that. I wonder what type of battery this thing calls for.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, why don't we
manual?
figure that out next before we continue? I'm gonna grab the knife and, oh shoot. Yeah, it looks like that just ripped right off. It's so strange.
14.8 volts, so that would be
4S.
4S, and then 2600,
2600?
35C.
How many 2600s do you have that have?
I have tons of 2600 4S with a compatible EC5 connector.
You know, that is just kind of a strange one. I wonder if this thing is designed for 6S
strange
too.
Size.
Is it supposed to be 6S?
I don't.
And we're just like
know.
playing it safe here? Because it seems like, why would they ever use that size? That's so strange.
In the notes, it does say oversized battery compartment able to accept up to a 4000.
Yeah, but 4000's still
But
4S.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not sure, but I'm all of a sudden quite curious about this. So we do have a 5000 4S in the smart battery. They set up to 4000?
Yeah.
Let's try ramming this in.
That seems close.
This is a huge battery for a small plane.
Yeah, it is.
1100 millimeter, even 2600 milliamp hours big. Okay, so let's look at this. No, we're sort of dabbling with radio setup, but we'll get back to it. Good straps, by the way. I like that. Thick straps. Okay. So let's undo both sides and just kind of pull this out of the way. Man, I long for the day when we have better battery management systems, because even though this does work, it's just such a pain on small planes.
There's gotta be something.
Well, they had trays on some of the E-Flight versions. They have been really good for batteries like that. Oh,
Goodness
that's crazy.
gracious.
If we can use this, wouldn't that be awesome? It's probably gonna screw up the CG something fierce. But you know what? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it fits, it ships. So I'm thinking we're gonna try to make it work. If this doesn't work, then I have to use adapters to go up to EC5. I just find that super lame.
Is that the only thing you have with an IC5 and a 4S?
Do you see how hard I was pulling to get that to slip out? Yeah, I mean, you don't get EC5s on 4S packs. So here's a 4000 with, you know, it's got an IC3. And then we've got 3200, 3200, 3200, 2700. We tried 2700 4S.
It does say 35C. Do you care?
What size?
It says 35C. That's
oh, they call for 35C?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay, well, and that's a fast plane. So I guess, what do we have on these ones? That's a 35C. So I would say, honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but this one is a 35C from Arrows. That's 3300 though. They call for 2600. The smart packs tend to run a little bit smaller. So that's part of the reason why I lean toward, you know, doing, and obviously I'm not gonna run it on 3S because that'd be ultra lame if it's capable of running 4S. But I would say, honestly, for now, we probably wanna use the 2700 just to be within spec. So we're gonna get this thing fired up, put it into the S2200. We did recently review this S155, which is good for 4S. So you could technically charge the battery for this application in there. And then basically what I'm gonna do is I'll have to come up with an adapter. See, the problem is, normally you're not going from big to small, you're going from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. On
this application, we're going from small to big, which is unusual. So I think that a lot of people end up not having adapters for that. So, I mean, I've got adapters, I think. Okay, so a little movie magic here. We're not clipping out building of this adapter. I had a broken battery. This is an IC5 to EC3. And you're like, why didn't you just use an IC3? Well, the reason I didn't use an IC3 male is because they're kind of hard to come by. You gotta kill a plane to get one, essentially. So this, I didn't want to put that on here because then that limits us to not use a 6S someday if we can put a 6S in here. So there you go. We'll show exactly how we built this in this application, but we'll try to link something so you can just buy one while you're buying the plane preferably. And stay tuned, we'll show you all that at the very end because it's a little bit drawn out. Okay, so you guys are probably looking for the adapter video. We're just gonna show you this before we even build this plane. The next move is we're gonna take this out. I don't like using Velcro on my batteries. And so what I usually do is I just lay this out on some shelf liner. And the camera crew wisely said, why don't you just stick it on there and then cut it, which I'm gonna do this time, because I do listen once in a while. Okay. See, that's nice. Makes a nice clean finish too on the edge. See, perfect finish. Okay, and then this of course is going to be something that'll stick to the plane. And then we built this little adapter here so you can stay tuned. At the end, we'll show you how we did that, as I mentioned earlier. So now this thing just basically goes right back into the plane, and that stops the battery from slipping around without having to add Velcro to each of your batteries in the different positions. Now, if you only have one plane and you only use batteries in one application, no big deal. But in our case, that's not the way it works. We use batteries for everything. So we use all the batteries for all sorts of planes. So our next move is to assemble this. What do they recommend we start with? Tail?
Well, they recommend the wings, but we usually do the tail first.
So that you have to trip over it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this we'll just leave here. Okay. So the tail is gonna be, well, whatever. We can do whatever. So this carbon fiber tube just goes through something like this, okay? And then you can tell which way it goes because this thing needs to be on the side with the, there's a hole this passes through, just like that. Then this slips in. Okay, just like that. Real super easy construction there. Then this gets slid on and then goes through just like that. Super easy, and you can see the alignment of those holes is perfect. And did it say what size screws we need?
It's this, the 4 big screws are for the wing. And then there's 2 sets of black, like Phillips screws, and then 2 sets of silver, or a set
So
of
which
silver
ones?
I don't know. Because I can't tell where the other set goes. It's not listed anywhere.
These don't have,
Those glue on.
well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So definitely these go into the spinner and wings.
Yep.
I'm assuming it's the smaller ones then. I guess I don't know what else to think.
The only
No,
thing is,
this one goes with the spinner.
now it goes with the spinner. They always give you an extra, and there's 3 black ones. That's literally my rationale.
Okay, I don't know what to make of that, so I guess we'll try the black screws first. So black screws would drop in there. I don't know, Megan, that looks pretty huge.
Well, I mean, you obviously know better than I do.
I don't know any better, are you kidding? This is guesswork at this point. Okay, so let's try this. I got a Phillips screwdriver. Did not come with a plane. Let's just see. Ooh, that might be too small. I just honestly, I can't tell. Ooh. Nope, that's not it. It is the black ones. That's not biting good enough. Okay, so the black screws are the ones you want. So they're about twice the size too.
So I don't know what those little silver ones go to. Possibly nothing.
Maybe they go to those things. Oh yeah. That's a really, really good fit. Oh, definitely the black ones.
Okay.
Might be spares for other ball joints, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or they go into the servos, maybe? I'm not sure.
Whatever the case, don't throw them away, ever.
Keep them forever, just in case you need to build a house. Mm-hmm. A very small
Very
house.
small house.
All right, so the next thing we need to do is we don't land this on the ball joint yet because we don't know where the servo is going to end up, but they do tell us on the elevator they want the outside on the horn and the outside on the arm of the servo. So the outside would be here, and then it's going to go something like that. Then if this is centered, then you just kind of twist that in or out depending on what you need until this is neutral. Okay, so we'll just kind of put it on there loose. Actually, I'm gonna not put it on there loose because I don't want to think it's attached and then take off and crash.
Right.
Okay, so the next thing I would normally do on a plane like this build is gonna take like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If you have an adapter already taken care of. Because that's the one thing that we're concerned about is the adapter. We spent a lot of time on it actually. Okay, so this just slides right back. Beautiful chrome finish. It's really cool. I hope it holds up as good as I expect it will. So FMS is obviously a pretty big brand. They make a lot of planes. They make planes for some other brands, obviously, and arguably one of the world's largest RC manufacturers. And they make a lot of aircraft, and they make, I think they also do helicopters, and they do cars and trucks. So it's pretty cool that we're able to work with these guys on these models. I just want to let you guys know, I don't care who sends the planes. We work for you. And that has always been the case. And I don't care what any commenter says. We work for you. We tell the vendors that when they send us stuff, and we say we do honest reviews. And the ones that don't like that don't work with us, interestingly enough. So you guys can do the math on that. It's very simple. If you are not an honest vendor or an honest company, you will not work with Brian Phillips RC. So that's not to say that people that don't work with us are all dishonest, but I can definitely tell you that there are at least a few that don't work with us because they want to be dishonest. So
Looks good.
I just need you to be back so that I don't hit you with my elbow.
Okay.
Sometimes when you're putting a Phillips screwdriver into an aluminum hole, you can actually get it stuck. And look at this, this is ridiculous. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah,
Should be no problem.
It won't throw anything.
It won't throw anything.
No.
So the reason I bring that up is because this is an FMS airplane, and we like working with FMS. We like working with all the different brands that we work with. But we also want to be fair to the vendors and the distributors and all these different people that we work with. But we just want you to know that in the context of what it is we do on Brian Phillips RC, you come first. Even if that means we can't work with people we'd like to. Okay, check this out. Because if they aren't interested in telling you what we actually found out about a plane, then we're not into working with them, because we're not gonna sell you guys short. We hope you see that. Nope. Okay, so what I'm now doing is I am trying to force this out of the spinner. I don't know how I managed to pop that in there so bad. Now I just want you guys to understand this is sharp. Like, it will cut you, especially when it's going hundreds of miles an hour spinning. But I'm saying, like, even neutral, it's sharp. I don't know if you can see that, how it kind of like chafed up when I did that. Like, how did I manage to do this? Look at this. Spin that. Just show the people I'm not crazy.
No, it's
like stuck.
It'd be hilarious if I got it out like instantly.
If you get it out, I would be thrilled, and I would laugh also simultaneously.
Don't worry, I am not going to. It's so really stuck.
I don't know how I got it stuck so bad. So folks, if you're doing this and following along like you should be, then
your screwdriver is stuck now.
I don't know why the screwdriver got stuck so bad, beyond the fact that it's an aluminum housing. But yeah.
Man, I really wanted to get that, just for fun. I'm just staying back.
No, I'm just gonna rock it and it'll come out eventually, but I literally don't understand how I could possibly get it that stuck. I mean, it's like in there.
And that's like our nicest screwdriver, so don't screw it up. We don't have 14 more of them in the drawer.
Listen, listen, we do. This one's important though. It's my favorite one.
It's your favorite one?
Yeah. What the heck is going on here? Okay, I'm gonna fight this and then come right back. Okay, so I just got it out and I figured out what I did wrong. I got this in here like this, and then as I torqued it in, I actually got it to twist in there. And that's what caused it to lock in. So what I'm gonna do is, see, it's wanting to lock in again. So I'm gonna get a slightly different diameter screwdriver. That was crazy, guys. I'm gonna get a slightly different diameter screwdriver and go all the way through if I can. There we go. Okay, so now that I'm all the way through, see how I'm spinning this? Now I should be able to turn it, and you have to have this tight. You have to have this hit into the back of the spinner. Can you show them what I'm talking about right there? That thing. Yeah. See that? If you don't push it, like, you can actually tighten this and have that walk away from that position. See, now I can push both sides. Goodness gracious. What the heck is going on here? Oh my goodness, now that thing is just like feeling very stuck. How many planes have we built now? I mean, literally hundreds.
Several, yeah.
Hundreds. We've built hundreds of planes, and we've, like, what is going on with this?
I'm not sure you've ever gotten one stuck.
Not once, but twice?
Yeah.
What is the deal with that thing? This is the method that you do. I've never done it any other way. Unless maybe I need to find a different size screwdriver. So guys,
apparently,
buyer beware. This step is gonna be kind of like weird. And I don't want to sound overly dramatic here, but like, guys, this is not a hard step, so I don't understand what the heck I'm doing wrong. Or maybe I got like just like a weird one. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at this.
Is it going?
It's almost like I have to loosen it. Oh, I figured it out.
You're tightening it
I'm
so
tightening
much.
into the end of the shaft. Wow. Okay, guys.
That was it.
Yeah, that was like kind of awkward to figure out. I can't believe I couldn't figure that out. Okay, guys, look at this. Watch this. This is the way I'm going to demonstrate. That is opened all the way through. So as we tighten, it's getting to a bite point. How are you supposed to tighten it then? Oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, we've run into some stupid stuff before, but goodness gracious. Now you're going to have to modify the thing just to tighten it on there. See, because what are you supposed to not put a screwdriver in there?
You want it's like even thinner?
I don't know. I'm going to just try to stick just the tip in. I mean, if I just stick the tip in, it won't, you know, get the job done.
It's not usually as good.
Yeah, I mean, depends. See, I'm going to break my stupid screwdriver. That is a ridiculous problem to have.
Yeah, that's
folks,
weird.
If you're watching this at home and you're screaming at the monitor, just tighten it, Brian. It ain't that big a deal. Oh, boy, what are you, an idiot? No, I'm not an idiot. I've done this hundreds of times. But normally, the shaft doesn't bite the point that you're tightening it with. Did this time. Okay, camera crew, you see how there's 2 holes there? And then a third? I wonder if that's just a cooling hole. Yeah, that's what it is. Show the people. That is so cool. Literally cool. The chrome makes it hard to see.
It does.
See? 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. And then watch this. Booyah. Oh, that is
cool.
so gorgeous. It's going to take me a while to recover from that. That was ridiculous.
That was really odd.
Oh my goodness. Now FMS is like, oh no, no more playing for Brian. He too dumb. Send it to somebody smart. I can't finish my comment.
Yeah, just.
I'm not even gonna do it.
Nope.
I'm just not gonna go there. It would have been a perfect conversation. Wow, that's absolutely
cool.
gorgeous.
That is a big prop.
I don't really think it's especially big. Although it is an 1100 millimeter plane,
Yeah.
so it's pretty big for an 1100. A 12.8, I think, is what they have on the 1.2 meter in the E-Flight series. Okay, so see how these are zip tied? I'm assuming we're gonna have to clip those.
I would guess so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it. So the next thing I need is some side cutters. You were saying that the sun was bothering you, but I have a really hard time seeing the sun bothering you.
Well, it's behind the cloud now, so.
We'll
see who's right. That was the other one. Well, you can do both.
I pressed up like 4 times, I don't know why. It's like designed by the spinner manufacturer. Okay, so check this out, guys. We're gonna cut this zip tie. Okay, we'll just kind of separate those from the breakout board. Now, obviously, if you decide to do crow or reflex or any of that stuff, not to be confused with reflex, the control system that they provide in this particular plane, at least as we're bringing it to you, then you will have to neglect the breakout board. They're all labeled. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, but like, I don't know which one's left and which one's right. Oh, it shouldn't matter. Aileron, flap, gear. Sweet. Yeah, so if you have to take your wing off on an 1100 millimeter warbird, this is technically a warbird, but I don't know if it's classified as a warbird because it's actually a racing plane. I wonder what they say at FMS. This is probably gonna be like one of those sweet, sweet, sweet planes. We get it all built, and then we just forget about the suffering.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we are so spoiled right now. Our builds have been so easy lately.
Yep.
Compared to what they were when we were building some other not competitive brands that rhyme with Schneinum.
I'm not sad about not doing those.
I'm not gonna say never again. I'm gonna say probably not again.
Can I vote?
Not
Not on that one.
Not on that one, no.
Shoot.
But I mean, we're like a 90% there.
Okay.
They were just getting so terrible to work on. I mean, they come 4,000 separate pieces, and this FMS are so much easier to build, and they just like go together, and then they fly better.
Yeah.
And they work better, and you almost never have dead on arrival components.
Nope.
You know, they're just a good company to work with. And, you know, it doesn't hurt that they build models for all the other competitive brands, so it's like, you know, that they know what they're doing, or they wouldn't be reselling through other brands.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking for a crush. And I'm going back up front. We're gonna do the same thing. Ooh. Boy, I'm just wiggling it around and I can't find the hole.
Finding the hole.
I found it. It was right where I expected it to be. Oh man, that looks so sweet. Oh, that's awesome. I like all the looks of this plane.
I think it's cool. I like it. Our girls are gonna like it.
If it was purple and pink, they would love it better.
They would love it even more.
What if it was all frozen decorated?
Then they would really, really,
They
really
would
love
sell
it.
that to tons of men. Okay, so let's look at this. We have some wires that we just passed through, okay? I want to talk about this for just a quick second. Make sure your leads aren't tangled, because this is the time where it's going to be a real pain. If you do it now, it's going to be a lot easier. Okay, so there's a place where you plug in. This says elevator, okay? This says throttle, this says rudder, and then aileron. So aileron is coming up here somewhere. Okay, obviously we don't need a reflex for aileron or for gear and flaps, because they're not going to be responsive to the spatial awareness. Stabilizer. Okay, so just getting that little decal there. Okay, sweet. So now that's just going to go straight into the receiver, and then these are the male-to-male connectors that are going to go from there to the receiver. They could have been about half the length, and it would have been a lot easier to manage all that cable. This, I'd like to really tuck this down in here. That's for the ESC. There's no reason to have all that excess up here. Shoot, it's a little tempting to have the receiver down inside of there.
Oh.
But I don't know. We'll see if we have space issues. I'm not crazy about where these wires are, but you know, at some point you got to get away from the servo. But you see what I'm talking about? Look at that length.
Yeah.
Jeez. How is that not going to hit the reflex? I have a stinky suspicion it's going to.
Unless it's not centered, and that's as far as it goes.
I'm voting for probably not.
Me too, but I can always hope.
If it was one of those spinums, it would absolutely be.
What? Not centered and in the wrong place?
Exactly. Well, you'd have to
Install it yourself.
You'd have to make your own steel rod. They would send you like a steel ingot.
And a little,
you have to like heat it up.
thing to smelt it in.
Heat it up and smelt it,
Yeah.
and then you can make it stretch out into a wire.
To build your own
Your
servo.
own music wire.
Yeah.
Okay, so these have some stab points on them, which is pretty sweet. So I'm just double checking that I'm getting this right, because it looks like there might be, yeah, there's definitely a contour to that. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna hold these up. Yep, see? They're opposite of one another. So it looks like I have these backward. Yeah, so that's the way that's gonna go. So you're supposed to glue these, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm just gonna not do that at all. I'm just gonna stick them in the hole. That looks sweet, by the way.
That does look really cool.
You know what? Why don't we do some foam to foam? Foam to foam is better.
And we have to put that pitot tube in too. That's supposed to be glued.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need it anyway.
Yeah, we'll just do the pitot tube. That bottle was just eager. Okay, so if you guys are not like me and you don't keep Q-tips in your kitchen for spreading your glue on your model airplanes, go to your bathroom or wherever you get ready in the morning and you can grab a Q-tip and spread that glue. Now this foam to foam will dry nice and clear, but I got a little bit messy there. And so if in doubt, just clean it up quick and it'll be no problem. And then use whatever excess you've got. You can just go ahead and slather that on the other half of the equation because it takes two to tango. What is going on here? I thought you were building an airplane. We are, obviously. It's Brian Phillips RC. Okay, so we can throw that one away. It's already used, so we're gonna let this glue sit. Okay? Then over here, we can go ahead and take this one. We'll do the exact same scenario. Q-tip in hand, ready to go. So if you dry fit it, that might give you a competitive advantage. See how much better that works when you have a plan? Maybe I should have done that the first time. See this?
Had a plan?
Just a little bit of glue. I'm just gonna run along like this. There it is. All right, so while I get this glue spread out, all I have to do is basically just cover this little section and we're gonna let this bake off or cook off. And what that's gonna do is it's going to allow the chemicals to react with the ambient air. Now watch this. See, it's already getting really tacky. See, this is the dry end. See, it's already strong enough to hold that on there. So that's pretty sweet. So now when you put that with this, it's gonna be extra sticky. Oh geez, I can barely get it to slip down in there. Okay. Nice. Oh, I did a really terrible job of putting that on. Is that thing supposed to be at a weird angle? Or is that just in my head? I think it's supposed to be at a weird angle. Did I possibly put it in the wrong side? If I figure this out here in 10 seconds, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I put it in the wrong side. What? I think. No? No, I didn't. I did not put that in the wrong side. That's like just got a strange angle to it.
What weird angle are you talking about?
This is what I'm talking about. With the plane level, that thing comes up like at, you know, a few degrees off.
Oh.
See?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was just...
You thought it was gonna be like just straight?
No, I thought I put it in wrong. But I didn't put it in wrong. That's the way it's supposed to be, which is cool. Okay. Well, now that that's done, the next step is the pitot tube, which is an airspeed sensor, except it's not actually an airspeed sensor. And that just slips in here from the bottom. And no, you wouldn't have to attach that. If you have to transport this plane, you're gonna have to lift up way high to show them that. There you go. That glare was killing us on that. Okay, so we're just gonna grab a little teeny bit of glue here. Oh geez, little teeny bit, Brian.
A little aggressive.
All right, so let's spread that around, So it's springtime in central Iowa, USA. And we are so excited. We're gonna let that cook off for a minute. And the next step, of course, is probably getting the receiver in there, but I have to see how this is gonna look before we get to the radio setup part. We've done all the like not cool fun parts, like building battery adapters.
Yeah.
And now we get to see how sweet it looks. So for those of you at home watching this, we appreciate you being here with us. Obviously, building these airplanes is a big part of what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We always try to show the start to finish the whole project, and then, you know, kind of let you guys make up your mind. That looks sweet. Man, I like the lines. Looks like it's gonna be fast, and if it's not fast, it's gonna look fast. Excited to see the way it comes together with all the radio setup. Should be pretty easy. We've had good luck. The reflex has been amazing to work with, although we've worked with it in a competitive offering. Okay, so let's show the people putting in this pitot tube real quick. So the pitot tube, now that it's had a chance to bake off or cook off a little bit there, chemically, it should just stay. Got a little bit of seepage there. And so the seepage is going to need me to take a little bit extra of the glue off. And so I'm just gonna do that right now. Okay, that takes care of that. Okay, so the next step is gonna be installing the radio, which is relatively simple in that we have to set up a model and then we're gonna use this, but let's go ahead and figure out how this is gonna fit quick. Mechanically installing an AR620 is very easy because the plane is, there's no spatial awareness on this because the reflex has already been mounted for us. We don't have to worry about it, okay? And okay, so I'm just gonna turn on my transmitter to like another plane. I'm not gonna bind it. Yeah, look, this one's got enough channels, so it should be throttle, aileron. Yeah, so we got flap, gear. Yeah, okay, so we can use this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay this down kind of by my belly and it just tells me which channel. So channel 1 is throttle. Flaps are on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So channel 6 is flaps. Channel 6, and then there's a little indication that says minus plus S. So S in this case is orange, and minus of course is brown. So we're gonna go into channel 6, just like that. Then we're gonna go gear on the next one down, which is 5. This is gear. That's just gonna go down to the breakout board. Okay, then the rest of the wires are all labeled, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's rudder. So rudder is on channel 4. So channel 4 right there before the gear. Okay, so then the next one, just for cable management reasons, I'm gonna grab the next one here, which is S-Bus PPM mode. Ooh, that's crap. I didn't think about that. We're gonna have all the channels used up. I wonder if we can use S-Bus and get away with some extra control authority there. Okay, so this is throttle. Throttle is gonna be on channel 1. Okay, so that's channel 1. Okay, so this is elevator. Elevator's on channel 3. And then again, if you guys haven't connected the dots on what I'm talking about, in the monitor mode, which is just on your main screen on the DX8 or NX8 or whatever, you just scroll over once and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And then ailerons. Ailerons are gonna be on channel 2, okay? Get in there. There we go. All right, so now that means that we are not going to be able to control all the features. Unless, of course, we can do S-Bus on this, which I don't know if you can do that. I've never actually looked into it. Let's check real quick. S-Bus. I don't know if you can do S-Bus, and even if you did S-Bus, I don't know if you'd be able to do anything else because there's 6 channels to 6 channels. Now, why do we care? Because right now, technically you would need a 7th channel to actually run the controls for your stabilizer. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just look into this manual and see if it says anything. This whole transmitter, or receiver rather, It doesn't really, yeah, doesn't even talk about it at all. So that might undermine our ability. We may have to go to a different receiver so we can get that top channel. Or give up something else, which I don't like doing, or tie it with another something else.
Because you can't use the bind port. It's not a channel.
I don't know, maybe it is a channel, I just don't know it. We'll find out. Let's just try it for fun. It's not, well, we have to, let's try it. It says battery. That's kind of weird. I don't think it's gonna do anything, but we'll just try it for extra fun. Okay, so I'm gonna put the plane flat. So now that we are in the process of basically starting or continuing the radio setup, I don't wanna accidentally forget and bind it to this wrong plane. So we're gonna take a minute and clean up the tools and come right back. Okay, so before we get into radio setup, let's talk about this for just a quick second. The Reflex has a mechanism to select which mode you want to use from jumpers. They have aircraft model updates. So it looks like if you go to the website there, you can download the Reflex 2 software. Then you connect to your USB-C port. Then it shows the aircraft and you can just download it. Okay, so we'll see how that works if we have to do it. I hope we don't have to do that, but if we have to, we have to. So, first step, I have to make a new model. So we're gonna hit both back and cancel. Oh, we gotta be in regular. Okay, add new model, create, this is an acro. We're already that type, just so you know. Model 81 colon space, and then it starts with the name. So this is gonna be the P-51 V2. Well, it's gonna be the P-51 Voodoo 1.1 meter. So we're gonna type that in. I'm using the legacy keyboard here, but you guys might actually be using the newer keyboard. Either way, it's just up to you which way you go. So we're gonna type that in and come right back. All right, folks, so it's P-51 Voodoo V2 1.1 meter. Okay, so that's just the name, aircraft type. So our type right now is one flap, one aileron, and then a normal tail. And then I'm just gonna change the image to probably the P-51. Not sure about flight modes yet, so we just have to leave that probably for now. Throttle cut, we're gonna set to switch H. Whoops. There we go. Okay, so it's on, working. See, it stops it from doing anything. And when it's live, it's ready to go. Okay, so we're good there. And then did they say a time on this?
No, they don't usually.
Let's double check. Yeah, it says it's an 80 amp ESC. That is a huge ESC for a 4S pack. Goodness gracious. Tough call. I wonder if it would fly on 6S. It definitely says 14.8 volts. Okay, it does not say any times that I can find in that page. So just trying to figure out if they have any ideas for using. They don't talk about the Reflex so much in here. They talk about the Reflex in this addendum. So if we did S-Bus, that would at least connect everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have a channel then to command it from on a 6-channel receiver. Whereas if you were to do like an AR620 or, excuse me, an AR630 or AR631, you would have the AS3X controls at the top end. You actually technically can control those beyond channel 6, even though it's a 6-channel transmitter or receiver. Okay, so let's just, let's go ahead and bind this. Throttle Cut's on. We're gonna set the timer to 5 minutes. Let's do dual rates and expo. Setting it to switch F. We'll do 5, 10, oops, and 20. And we'll reduce the rates down to 90 on the top setting. We're gonna start flying here. If it's too much expo, we'll go back. If it's not enough expo, we'll go up. So we're gonna go to elevator. So that's gonna be 10, and then this is gonna be 5. And then we'll go to rudder. Whoops. So on the top setting, you can tell you're in the top setting by looking at the switch. You're looking at what box is black at the time. Okay, so there we go. So we got all 3 settings. We'll start in the middle. If we need more expo, we do this. If you want it to be more smooth and, you know, less sensitive in the center of the sticks, you'd go up. Or if you want it to be more sensitive in the middle of the sticks, you'd go up like that. Okay, you want it to be less sensitive, you'd go down here. But we can start in the middle. Then when you land, you set your middle to whatever setting you had, and then you make your new high and low. And then let's go into timer. Oh, goodness gracious. Timer. 1 time is active. Next, next. I don't want a warning at 1 minute. I don't want a warning at 20 seconds. I want to count down from 10 to 1, and then I want tone and vibrate for expiration, and then 1 minute every thereafter. All right, throttle cut's on. So we're going to take our little adapter, which if you guys haven't seen us build this yet, just stay tuned. I'm going to be real careful because the prop is installed. If you're unsure of your skills, don't put the prop on until you're done. You see where my arm is? That's not a good place to have it. So just be mindful, protect your body. There's 2 ways people get hurt with radio controlled airplanes predominantly, and that is batteries, which are lipos. You need to respect lipos. They have a lot of chemical energy in there, and when you charge and discharge them recklessly, then you can create a fire hazard. So be careful with that. Charge them on hard surfaces and only under supervision, okay? So like when you're in the room doing something else, that's fine, but just don't start charging and then go smoke in bed, okay? Because that's not a good idea. And don't say I told you to do it if you do. So be careful, guys. And then once you're ready to plug in the battery, be extra careful until you have had a chance to make sure the system's gonna work, so you don't get yourself cut. So that's a 2700 4S that we got in there, 30C. Calls for a 35C. I hope that's not a big issue. We'll see if it is. Well, that's pretty dang tight in there, I think. All right, so now we can plug this in with our little adapter we made. Okay, so we're not bound. So we're gonna press and hold that. It says binding. Now, be mindful, if things were to start, you're gonna be able to control this. Okay, so I usually like to do this with the transmitter off because it's the easiest way to demonstrate. I'm gonna press and hold the bind button, and then I'm gonna press this for a second, wake it up. Okay, while holding the bind button. Bind failed. If it fails, then I leave it on and I just scroll down to bind. Step away from the plane. Got it. Be careful. Control the plane. Okay, so now camera crew, if you want to come around, we're going to turn the plane so we're in a safe position until we have everything set. Okay, so everything is moving, that's good. Except for the flaps, because we never turned flap mode on. Throttle cut's on and tested. It's been tested, so I'm confident that we're safe to do this. Flap system, set it to switch B. So position 1 is going to be, look where they are. See, in my case, I'm going to the minus 100 position. Please forgive my scrolly thing. It's a little weird right now. So there's minus 100. Okay, there's going to be like a takeoff flap. And then the landing flaps will be, there you go, 100. Okay. And the elevator correction, let's just do 5. Let's do 7 and 10. And then let's do speed at 2 seconds. Beautiful. Nice. Ailerons are going backward. Let's go ahead and address that issue. Okay, so let's go out of that flap mode, go to servo setup. Reverse ailerons. Okay, so now look, rolling down, rolling up, rolling down, rolling up. Check both sides because you do have a flight controller in there. Elevator. Now the elevator, now that we know it's centered, we can go ahead and snap this on. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to look at where the position is. Obviously it needs to come out a little bit. So there's 1 full turn and a half. Ooh, maybe, I don't know.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it pulled it down just a hair. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. So that's pretty good. Okay, so there is a special tool that you can use to actually put these on, and we have a number of them. If you don't have this, actually, is this the first time we use these?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so these are going to be used to push this on. And I'm just double checking. Yeah, that seems about right. Perfect. Okay. Elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, roll right. Yaw left and right. Okay, so that's backwards, so we gotta go to rudder and switch that. So yaw left, yaw right, roll left, roll right, pull up, pull down. And then the correction on the elevator, it goes down a little bit when the flaps are deployed, and then down a little bit further when the flaps are further deployed. Now let's look from the side at the flaps. See how they're not totally collapsed? See this, it doesn't close all the way? Okay, so watch this. Servo setup, travel. Flaps. Look what's happening. Okay, so that brings it all the way closed. Okay, cool. And then also, I'm gonna go to the flap system. I think that might actually, that's probably about right. I think what I'm gonna do though for the flap system, I'm gonna go into flaps. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit. See what's happening, guys? Still kind of struggling with that problem. I'm gonna have to talk to Horizon and see if they got something to say about that. Okay, so there's takeoff flaps. There's landing flaps. They're really big. Okay, so that's sweet. Elevator up, elevator down. Yaw left, yaw right. Looking at the steerable tail wheel, doing the same, good. Okay, so all the control axes are working. We haven't even undone the throttle hold, so let's throttle cut. So let's go ahead and safely hold the plane. We're gonna shut off the throttle cut from a place where I feel totally confident in case something would go wrong, which I don't think it will. Throttle cut's off, and we had no jump. That's 15% throttle. Okay. Throttle cut's back on and it's tested, so we're good there. Now let's check the gear. Oh, sweet.
Cool.
Okay, so I don't like the direction that my switch is, so I'm gonna switch that in. Servo setup, travel, reverse. There you go. Gear up. Gear down. Awesome. Okay, so we have all the basic setup done. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to see if the stabilizer's working. Yep, it is. So now watch the elevator or the aileron. It's gonna go up, it's gonna go down. I'm watching this one. It's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, okay? Elevator goes up, goes down. Rudder goes left, goes right. So it's correcting in the correct direction. Now, I want to make sure that I have this straight because I need it. I want stabilization, but I'm not going to be able to switch auto leveling on and off with this reflex, which is kind of a big bummer because I'd like to be able to show that. Did you guys hear that? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so everything is unplugged. My soldering job was terrible, so I have to fix this. We'll come right back. All right, so we are just getting ready to finish up our radio setup and also check the CG. So what we've done is we pretty much have it bound, so the camera crew is gonna slide the transmitter over to me. And we've already got the reflex and all that good stuff set up. And so now it's just a matter of kind of figuring out where we're gonna actually put the radio system, which in this case, I'm thinking that I'm just gonna kind of keep it simple. Just put it here. Now, there's evidently some jumpers inside of this that you can set. I have no idea where they are. There's also a USB-C on this side here where you can plug in. And that's where you would basically hook up to program that. I wonder if I can just, I might need to do like a single zip tie, I'm not sure.
Almost like tie it in a knot.
That's what I was kind of actually thinking about, but I just don't want it to actually unplug a wire. While it's de-energized, I can do it without worrying about hitting the button. Kind of like your knot idea. Cable management always seems to be overlooked. Nobody ever talks about it in videos, that's for sure. We try to kind of cover all these different details because we know that at the end of the day, you want the plane to fly good, and all these little details add up to, you know, a fair amount of reliability. And even though sometimes I beat a dead horse in the detail, that's sometimes what it takes to get the plane built. And I don't want you guys to get some misrepresentation of the reality you're going to be facing when you buy a plane. Also, I see that ESC lead, you know, that knot idea might actually work, but I'm also a little bit concerned that I could have just gone right there. Maybe we should just try going right there next to the reflex, because it seems like that's going to fit better. Okay, so I unknotted it. Can you hold a hand on the tip of the plane so that it doesn't move? Mm-hmm. Thanks. That's super helpful. Okay. And then I'm just gonna try to get this millions of cables to rotate around. And then see if I can get that. Ooh, yeah, that did fit pretty nice. I like that. Nice and clean. Definitely easy to see. Okay. All right. So we were just getting ready to test if we had auto leveling or not on. So this is probably a good time to check 70 to 80 millimeters. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring the calipers out to 70. We're gonna mark the center of gravity. So 70 to 80. So if you guys are new to the channel, we go into great detail on how to set these planes up because we want you guys to have a good experience. And we're under no delusions that this building process is a super simple and easy thing. There's certainly a lot of counterintuitive steps involved. And so here at Brian Phillips RC, we take our time and show you guys exactly how to do it. And we try to leave as little guesswork as possible. So 70 to 80 millimeters. So you might opt to just measure to 10 millimeters from your first mark. Okay. And then you'll note I'm just basically, I'm kind of like looking at the alignment from the front of the wing there, where this wing kind of starts right there. I'm not going all the way up to that because I don't think that's what the manufacturer meant. And I hate when they give us a reference point that's ambiguous like this. It's an inside bent corner. Not a good reference point, in my opinion. Like, why not this? This is jigged in a mold at the factory. So I've never understood why the center of gravity, if they know what it's gonna be, why isn't it in the mold? And maybe they don't. Okay, so now that we have the center of gravity marked, we'll be ready to test it. And typically with retract planes, we usually close the retracts, and some planes will say to leave them open. Just kind of depends on if you believe there's gonna be a shift. Like if you have a nose gear that comes back, it's gonna make you more tail heavy. If you have a nose gear that pulls out and goes forward, it's gonna bring you more nose heavy. So these ones go out sideways, so it shouldn't really impact. It's just gonna get them out of the way while we're testing. Okay, so throttle cut is on. We have all the settings the way we expect. Flaps are in normal mode. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put our adapter back in. I did have to revisit one of my wires. I had the solder, I thought I had the solder good, but I didn't. And I'm glad I noticed that because that would have been a problem. Okay. I haven't had to build an adapter like this forever. And it's so funny because the last we did an FMS P40 and it had an EC5 as well. Remember that? Mm-hmm. But we used the 5000 in that. 5000 for us. Okay, so everything is initiated. You get the normal dance. That's what I mean by dance. Okay, so I'm going to slide this connector off to the side of the battery, or not going to be enough room. The connectors are big. So I'm going to see if I can, these are heavy too, so you want to try to kind of figure out a way to consolidate them so that it's helping your cause. And honestly, I'm not sure if we need this thing to go more tail heavy or more nose heavy, but we can use that to our advantage shortly if we need to. Okay, so you see how that's got a really strong magnet in the back? Remember, this plane is going to go like 90 plus miles an hour. Okay, so with gear out or gear down, that's literally perfect.
That's crazy.
First try, I can't believe it. Okay, so, and that's one thing. This is a 2700 milliamp 4S. That's what they recommended, 2600 and no change. Totally happy with that. Man, that looks sweet. Okay, so real quick, we're just gonna test the throttle. That thing is powerful. Oh my goodness, that was like 60% throttle.
That's crazy.
Okay, so I'm gonna check all my axis for control surface, direction correction. You're not probably gonna be able to see super good, but as I move this, you can see it kind of go whatever direction I'm moving. and then restore back to normal. And also you can tell that it's not auto leveling right now. Okay, so same thing with the rudder. I'm just watching it point whatever direction I'm moving. Elevator. It's easier if I turn it sideways and I can look at it wiggle with the direction of movement. Now, for ailerons, down, up, down. Okay, make sure you check all the surfaces. And I did check all the surfaces and they're all going in the correct direction. Now, one issue I have with this is if you're doing this as a beginner plane, first of all, I probably wouldn't do this as a beginner plane anyway because it's a super fast plane. But it does have flaps, it does have retracts, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Roll left, roll right, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right. Okay, everything is pretty much set and ready to go. If you guys want to have this with on-off stabilization, the way you would do that is you need to have one more channel. So the problem is you have to go up to basically an 8-channel receiver to do that. And the operation instructions, so connect the 3-wire cable into the port that is labeled S-Bus PPM. So we didn't hook anything up there. I guess we could throw, let's go ahead and unplug flaps for now, and we'll just demonstrate what it looks like if you were to do that.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, we're going to be flying this with flaps. Okay. Okay, so there's one extra cable that's not landed right now. And I don't know. Oh, no, it is plugged in. We just don't have anything to do with it, you know? See how it's flashing solid? Or it says it's like a flash red. Mm-hmm. So when I unplug this, nothing changes. So let's go to flaps, which should be the last one. Let's unplug that. Now we're going to plug this in. Now remember, our flaps are going to 3 different positions that might not be exactly half and half. Okay, so you see how the light went to a solid, and then partway through it went to off. Okay, so now watch this. So throttle cut's on and tested. So remember, this is not spatially aware. Look. See? Trying to auto level the plane. So that's pretty sweet. So if you were a newer pilot and you wanted to have the auto leveling, you could do without flaps, or you could make it so that it works with flaps, and you would just basically put a Y cable in on that channel and just split it out and control both. In our case, I'm curious to see if there is any S-Bus. I don't believe there is on this setup. And so yes, I am actually plugged into the battery connector, but it doesn't do anything per se that I know of. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Could you tie it to gear and have the auto leveling on like when your gear is down if you want it just for taking off and landing?
Yeah, you could totally do that. The thing is, you just need to make sure that the gear is operating at in the right direction. So like you want safe to be on when your gear up or when the gear are down. And so you may have to use a servo signal reverser to actually accomplish that.
Depending on how you want it to function.
Yeah, because your condition for your landing gear, and then you may just have to be not as picky if you're going to go that route.
Right.
But it's a real nice fit. I mean, I like that. Real simple. And it's easy to get the battery in and out. I don't like it when it's hard to get batteries in and out in these planes. Okay, so obviously the auto leveling should be off. There's another way you can just leave safe on all the time too, or not safe, but auto leveling through the reflex. You see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of tucking that down.
On the side, yep.
Yeah. And then this thing just has the one magnet, and there you go. So that's in there very good. Those ailerons are super fast. Now, there is one other thing I want to look at. If you want to look over my shoulder, camera crew, I don't know how this is going to work. I figured you were going to go to the other side. Sorry. Whoops. I don't know where you do this now. So it's under system setup. Bind frame rate. So if these are digital servos, automatic, default, hybrid, let's see what happens. See if it does anything weird. I can't tell the difference, so I guess rather than causing a problem, I'm just gonna put it back. But it does appear to work either way. So I'm gonna just put a default. Okay. Ooh. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so what have we learned? We've learned that this plane is really cool looking. We've learned that it goes together relatively easy. Obviously, I always take longer to do everything than anybody else. But the idea is I want to teach you guys how to do this so that you can, at some point, go out on your own and you can set up your own planes maybe without help. But you can come over here and just see how the flight goes. See if you like the way the plane flies, if you like the way it looks when it's flying. Because at the end of the day, if you don't like the way it looks or you don't like the way it flies, then you're not gonna wanna buy it anyway. But that's what we're hoping to accomplish here, beyond avoiding one and dones where people get a plane that's too advanced for what their skills are gonna allow. And also helping people to get back in the hobby that have maybe walked away from the hobby for 20 years or 15 years or whatever. So much technology has changed, it's incredible. So most of you people that are getting back in the hobby, you know, what do I do with my Futaba crystalled radio? It's 4 channels. It cost me $2,000 27 years ago. Okay, true. But now you can get something like this for a quarter the price that's gonna do a million times as much. And probably a better job of it, and nobody with the CB can crash your plane. So very happy with this plane so far. Not happy that they used an EC5. That's a weird choice. I don't think it's necessary. It complicated the build quite a bit. But beyond that, I mean, it's not the end of the world, and it's not the first time we've seen that from FMS. So if you're a normal FMS customer, you've probably already kind of built your adapter that you need. Also, that presupposes that you use batteries that have EC3 connectors. If I'm using IC3 connectors all the time. If you're using connectors that are set up for the FMS models all the time, maybe you always have an EC5 on your batteries. I used to change the battery ends and the plane ends all to XT60 because at the time I was using a lot of XT60s. Even when I went up to the big 12 gauge wire, I would still use XT60s. And I'm fortunate that I never had an XT60 melt because, you know, they're sort of a 60 amp solution is kind of the rule of thumb. Whereas the EC5 gets more into the 90 amp range. So this is an 80 amp ESC, and that's why they go with the bigger, more robust connector. But that leads me to the question is this plane actually supposed to run on 6S? And when I say that, I mean, maybe it was just like during development, they realized that it wasn't gonna hold up to it. So they kind of walked it back and just went to a 4S. So I'm excited to see how fast it is. My guess is it's gonna scream like insane fast. But it might be that this thing goes insane fast on 4S. It might actually support 6. But I'm not sure I wanna try that on a Maiden. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and fly this thing, see how things go, and then maybe if things go really well, we might go ahead and take one for the team and see what happens with 6S, if it catches on fire right away, or if it catches on fire after like 4 or 5 flights. But in the meantime, beautiful plane. Thanks to FMS for providing this. Obviously, we're gonna provide you guys links in the video description below, and you can buy things like the NX8. You know, you can get the battery that we use, the 2700 4S. We'll have links to both of those. We'll have a link to the plane, possibly links to different finish levels. But at this point, this was a plug and fly, so we'll also link to the AR620 that we used in this video. Although I would recommend given the circumstances, you might want to have that extra channel if you want to turn on auto leveling. In my case, I never really turn off stabilization, and I never really honestly turn on auto leveling. So in my situation, I'm not giving up anything. But for you that want to use auto leveling as part of the reflex solution, you will need to have an additional channel unless you want to tie it with the gear. And I feel like that's a big trade-off, folks. So that being said, things are going well with this. We've experienced just a number of little glitchy items, and most recently, the spinny knob has been giving us a little bit of trouble. So I gotta look into that further, but otherwise we love it. It's a great platform. Spectrum is one of the easiest platforms to learn for setting up computerized airplanes, for making models, and it's very easy to go from one plane to the next plane to the next plane, and to build on your skill set when you're doing mixes and things like that. So I definitely recommend, if you're new to the hobby, to maybe just start sidling up with Spectrum. Yes, you can get some cheaper junk out there, I promise you. There's a lot cheaper junk out there, and I used to use some of it, but I ultimately ended up with the Spectrum, and this is back before we were working with companies like Horizon Hobby and FMS and Banggood and Arrows, HobbyZone.com, all these different companies that we work with now as we're reviewing airplanes on a more professional level. I ended up with the DX18, and I loved it. It was a great transmitter. And when my liaison at Horizon was like, hey, we're gonna send you an NX8, I'm like, what? What, you're sending me a 6-channel transmitter? I don't care about that. I wanna use my DX18. Funny thing is, I actually really liked it almost immediately because it resolved a lot of small little gripes that I had with the DX18. Namely the fact that when you update the firmware on a DX18 to be able to do forward programming, it gets very slow. Whereas on the NX6, which has a 7th partial channel, you don't have that issue. On the NX8, you get the addition of the knob and a couple of switches, as well as a lanyard, which is not a huge deal. But at the same time, don't even consider the 6, just get the 8. Just go straight to the 8. You're wasting your money if you get the 6. And at the end of the day, we're out here trying to help protect your RC budget by helping you make good decisions on what you really want to buy versus maybe what you don't like, given the scenario that we ran into. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you like this plane versus that plane versus the other plane. We just want to bring you a good, honest review of how awesome or terrible it was. And I kind of tend to like everything. But at the end of the day, if it's terrible, you're going to be able to tell. The other thing is, a lot of the things you see online look good online. And you get, I mean, I don't fancy myself to be a super expert pilot, but I am getting better, and it does take a lot of years to get comfortable with a lot of planes. I can fly a plane right away, but the thing is, I'm not a super expert pilot. So if you get a super expert pilot, they can fly garbage and make it look good. I'm not that guy. I know some of you guys think I am, but I'm not. So this plane, whatever it looks like in the Unbox build radio setup, which we're filming right now, at the beginning when we fly it, that's the way it really looks. So we want to put our best foot forward, make these things look as good as they can look. But the thing is, we're not going to go out there and fly in a hurricane, except that we did fly in a tornado the other night. There was that.
Yeah.
So we try to put our best foot forward. We don't want to film them in terrible lighting or if it's extremely windy or whatever. But we do fly in wind and we do fly in bad lighting. We just try not to go to the extremes of those situations. And if we do get into those situations, we try to get a good video before we present them, and then we'll show them in an order that is helpful to you guys as decision makers. Because really, at the end of the day, if you want to help support us and keep this channel in business, buy the planes from the links in the video description below. And that actually helps us in 2 ways. It builds clout with our vendors that we work with, because after all, we are totally honest to you. And so that does mean that that comes at a cost. When vendors send us stuff, we review it and we give it a less than stellar review. They aren't thrilled with us. But the thing is, when we give a good review on a good product and you buy the crap out of it, then that means that they believe that we are going to help enhance their business by sending you guys to buy the stuff that you really do like. So at the end of the day, they also send us commissions, which is nice, and that's how we fund our channel. So if you buy it from the link in the video description below, if you buy this in the link from the video description below, you will be helping to fund the channel. We think it's the most equitable way that you can fund us. But if you like PayPal, Patreon, maybe you're not into buying this particular plane, but you liked enjoying, you know, watching the video or whatever, then you can do that too. And we think we have, gosh, what are we up to, like 25 or something Patreons right now?
Yeah, I think something like that.
It's hard to keep track of. It always seems like there's, you know, like 1 in, 2 or 3 out or something like that. Excuse me, I said that backward. But we're really just thrilled with the way you guys have stepped up to the plate to help support us in this pursuit of doing this on a more full-time basis. At the end of the day, my demanding day job, it would be nice if we didn't have to do that, but it's probably the reality for at least a few more years. And but at the end of the day, we love doing this for you. We want to bring you great content. We're trying to improve the video quality. We're trying to improve the audio quality. Obviously, I'm trying to get you guys more content with the PPG stuff, and obviously tons of the latest and greatest radio-controlled fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, quads, you know, some of the ground-based vehicles, and then other fun things that we run into that are kind of in the ballpark, like, you know, electric scooters and bikes and things like that, which you guys always tear us up when we do those, of course. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we love bringing this content to you. And if you weren't coming back to watch more videos, we would probably just stop doing it.
We are launching a website.
Oh, there's
very
that.
soon too.
We keep talking about it, but we've actually, and when I say we, I mean, I've done like maybe 1% of the work.
Maybe.
And when I say one, I mean, she like asks me a question and we talk about it and then she does it. So Megan, the wonderful camera crew and behind the scenes, by choice.
Yeah, still by choice.
Counterpart. And believe me, when I say counterpart, she is doing a ton of work on this channel. So I owe a debt of gratitude to Megan for all the wonderful things she does to help keep this channel running and also to keep the kids taken care of as I am deviated from the fatherly role that I might necessarily need to be doing at any given time to deal with YouTube stuff because it is basically another full-time job. She basically does that much work, just does it during the day when I'm at my day job. So it's incredible the amount of work that goes into a channel, and we still have a relatively small channel. So for those of you thinking about doing a YouTube channel, we have some select words about that, but I'm not going to put them here. Definitely leave comments in the video description below, and as soon as we get the website live, you can go check it. Is it going to be, how soon is it going to be?
It will probably be live probably by the time you're watching this video, but it will not be complete.
It's not going to be complete for a while.
We're going to put it up so that you can start having access to see the organizational setup of it. But then it's going to take me a while to get all of the leaf blower videos and like
your
whoppers. I mean,
Obviously,
I know those are at the top of my list.
You know, the electric bikes, the tractor videos,
We'll get them up first.
air chucks.
Yes,
air chucks are
sure.
really popular. But there was kittens in that. The cat trees, furniture. You know, we won't review anything.
We will put things up.
We're just like Shaq, except we're not actually celebrities.
Right. So you might see something and you might click on it and it might not work yet, and I will get to it as quickly as I can. But
actually do let us know if you click something, and you guys have been really good about this, and we're not annoyed when you tell us this stuff, believe me. If we have a link that's broken, let us know. It helps us because sometimes we have old videos. We have like 1,500, 1,700 videos. I don't know what we're up to now, but it's a ton.
Yep.
And so for us to go through and update all the video descriptions where you click on those links is like extremely impossible. We'll spend like 3 weeks updating the last 200 videos. So, I mean, it's like impossible.
Yeah.
So if you see a link that doesn't work, holler at us. We also have master links up at the top of our description, but one of the master links is going to end up just basically being the www.brianphillipsrc.com. It's just that simple. It's just brianphillipsrc.com, and of course, it's going to point you back at YouTube stuff, and it's going to give you an opportunity to find the airplanes in a very organized, concise, and one-stop shop. And just keep in mind, as you navigate through those links, you'll be supporting us just like if you follow the links in this particular video. But for the meantime, we're probably going to have the links, and we're going to have the link to the website so that you guys can go whichever direction you want. Or if you're watching on your smartphone and you just like open and expand the comments, you know, and expand the video description, then you can click on those hyperlinks to just go straight to the, the website. And for this one, I believe it's gonna be like an Amazon link right away. And later on, depending on what companies pick it up, there might be some other links that get added.
Yep.
This is also gonna give us flexibility when there is a change, because it's happened to us a number of times, like 3 or 4 times we've had to update virtually every link. And it is extremely tough on us. So the camera crew's huge time investment is not going to be unnoticed, I'm sure, by you guys. So you'll visit the website and check it out, and let us know how that works for you. It's going to be brianphillipsrc.com.
Yep.
Super easy to remember, just like brianphillipsrc@youtube.com. So shouldn't be too hard. We'll have links all over the place for you. And if you go there, we haven't got merch set up yet. We're working on it. We know some of you guys have asked about it, but to be honest with you, it's always a struggle between creating content and getting the business to run.
Excuse me.
And so we try to honor you guys, because at the end of the day, we believe that we owe you content more than we owe you like a mug that says Brian Phillips RC, although that would be pretty cool. And I know a lot of you guys want to support us in that way, because then you feel like you're getting some tangible goods for it. And I totally get that. That's why I want you guys to buy the planes. We think that's the best way. Planes, helicopters, electric scooters, electric bikes, whatever it is that we happen to be reviewing, that's the best way. Because like I said, if we build clout with these manufacturers, then you guys get better content from us.
Yep.
So it's a win-win-win for everybody. And to be honest with you, we love all these airplanes anyway. We just have a lot of them. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I think we've told them lots of things today.
We have, honestly.
It's been quite the
it's been,
story time.
Yeah,
day.
Story time. And apologize for the voice. It's just, we're getting done with colds again. Since it's spring, that's what happens in spring.
Yeah, it's nice out. Why wouldn't you want to be sick?
Yeah, why would you not want to have a cold? So anyway, don't worry, we're not dying. We don't have COVID or anything like that, just a regular spring cold. So, which I'm sure millions of you also have. But springtime in Iowa, it's killing me, because I open up the door in the morning and the birds are chirping and it's just amazing. And it's so funny because I'm talking like 1 week ago, you open the door and there's like one bird. You open the door now and it's loud. I mean, you hear it without opening the door.
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
here in about 2 more weeks, we're gonna go out there and it's gonna sound like a jungle, which it already kind of does, which is so cool. And so that is just like, summer is here. And daylight savings time ought to be an RC hobby holiday. Why do we ever shut off daylight savings time?
Well, some people don't.
Well, yeah, like one state.
There's a couple.
So at the end of the day, if
do.
you guys are politicians and you're watching this,
please
shut down. Let's work on shutting down daylight savings. What a joke. Let's just leave it in daylight savings mode all the time, because that's what we need in the RC hobby. Because when people get off work, they want to go fly. So, and that's when it calms down too.
Yeah.
So when it becomes like fall and it's dreary and everybody's starting to get depressed because of seasonal, what is that they call it?
Seasonal affective disorder.
Yes, exactly. When they start
Makes
getting
you
that, then you steal an hour from our day, screw up our sleep schedule, and stop us from flying our gorgeous brand new P-51 Voodoo. If you're watching this and it's fall, but anyway, it's still gonna be fun. But the thing is, you have to do it on Saturday then if you're like me, because my job keeps me out past dark a lot of times. So, video description, get one for yourself. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. We are gonna tag just a little clip at the end of this of building this little adapter. And we mentioned that a little bit earlier, but this little adapter was definitely something that we had to build. You can buy it, and if we find a link to something like this, we'll go ahead and add that. And it may be just like an EC5 to an EC2, or excuse me, EC3 rather. And if it's an EC5 to an EC2, then you can just buy that from the link, or you can go ahead and build one of these from a crashed or damaged battery or whatever that you've got flying around. Any other thoughts?
I think we're good.
All right, so stay tuned. We're not quite wrapped up. We appreciate you guys in the YouTube verse. You're great to us. That's like universe plus YouTube. It didn't really roll off the tongue like I thought it would.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a good job.
Yeah, so epic fail. So thanks for watching, guys. So much more to come. We have a cat that's digging to poop in our plant right now, so we have to get out of there. Get out of there. What are you doing? That's not...
She's used to living in the wild. That's our cat that runs away for weeks at a time.
This cat's been gone, left for 3 months in the middle of winter, decides to just stroll in and eat food like she owns the place. But she is the one that got stuck. We had a plant stand and her paw got stuck in the plant stand, and to come out here at like 3 a.m. and she was screaming for help.
She was really little.
It was like freaky D. Her middle finger was like upside down. I think, what do they have?
It was like inside out.
They have a claw like here. And then this thing is, it's like 4, and then they have one up here. Well, anyway, she had, this thing was flipped upside down and inside out because she had like tugged on her own arm so hard. And I don't know, I got really lucky. I just like literally just pulled it back and straightened it out. And she hated it. It hurt. I could tell it hurt her. But she's always been really scared of me because it happened when she was a little cat. So it's just weird. Every time she goes away and then she comes back, her big sister picks on her. And we hate that. But then she digs in the plant. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this.
She's back.
Look, she wins evidently.
Yep.
So I guess we'll deal with that crap later. Stay tuned. More about batteries. Thanks for enduring all the Brian Phillips story time today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, leave it in the comments below. And I'll get back to you. Okay, so I was looking through all my adapters and I have a million of them. I literally have a million. See this? This is an EC5, okay? So this would be the compatible or markedly compatible IC5, okay? So this is the new version. It's got the smart lead in the middle, same polarity and everything, and this would energize the plane. It would plug in fine. But of course, this battery happens to be a 5000. It's probably not going to center gravity out good for us. So every other battery that I have in 4S has an IC3 or an XT60, okay? So what's wrong with the EC5? Well, it almost forces you to cut it off and put an XT60 so that you can plug this in, or an XT60, because you can use an IC3 with an XT60, even though they're not compatible, they work. You could also put an EC3 on here, but I'm not a big fan of cutting off leads, especially in reviews. So I came up with a plan that will work, and it's kind of ridiculous, so I wanna show you what my plan is. And the only reason we go into the weeds like this is because you're gonna run into this exact problem. So what we're gonna try to do is we'll link to the plane, and then I'll try to find an adapter. It's an unusual adapter because you don't normally go from a small battery to a bigger plug. It just almost never happens. You usually go from a big battery to a smaller plug because you're just trying to fly something for a long time. Okay, so just to give you an idea, I was using my 1300 milliamp just as a test. And so what I did was I said, okay, I had built this connector. This is an HXT 4.5 millimeter, and it's like a male-female combo, okay? And then this worked to plug in. I mean, it's kind of a tight squeeze because I had some heat distortion on this XT60, which you'll get. Then I had that, which went up to an EC5, okay? So that's one way, and you can see that the polarity is all marked, and everything is still like minus, black is minus, 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 minus. Okay, so everything is fine. So that would get us from our connector into the airplane. But that is, first of all, that's a lot of adapters, and second of all, it just looks stupid. So what I was thinking about is, the other option is, if you were an early adopter of the Spectrum Smart technology, you probably have some of these IC3 to IC5 adapters. And so I was thinking, okay, there's got to be a way to do this. And so, of course, unlike most of you, I have killed quite a few of my batteries, and I'm such a cheapskate. I saved the Smart chip, which is ridiculous, I know, because I have a lot of batteries. And as you can see, an XT60 and an XT90 are also compatible. So I was just using all this information to figure out what I'm gonna do to make my adaptation. Now, I also have this particular adapter, which is if you were gonna be using an EC5 connector or an IC5 connector into an XT90, of course, that's not our application here either. And so I'm like racking my brain thinking, what am I gonna do? So I came up with this, which is pretty easy, But really the best thing to do would be to just break out the soldering iron and put a new connector on the plane. I refuse to do that. So what I have to do now is I have to actually build an adapter, which I haven't done for a while. Now, that being said, the adapter is gonna look something like this. These are just, you know, you build these, then you put them together. So I'm gonna show you the process. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of effort. And if you don't know how to solder, then this is a problem for you. You're gonna have to basically solder if you replace that end, or you're gonna have to buy an adapter. So just be aware. And be careful about what type of pin or socket you use, okay? So this is what's in the airplane, okay? This is what's gonna be on your battery. This is gonna be what's on your battery potentially? No, wrong. You're gonna have this on your battery, okay? In my case. So I'm like, how can you do that if you don't have all these weird adapters? Well, the easiest way would be to basically go to an XT60 female connector, okay? So this happens to be a series connector, but you could go into an XT60. So if you've got those lying around, you can use those, and then you can pair those up with another proper dead battery. So that's what I'm doing today. And yes, I do have more than one of these because regrettably I've crashed a few planes. So what I'm gonna do is I'll end up shortening this because I don't want it any heavier than it has to be. I also don't have, the other thing that's a hot commodity, if you haven't figured this out, is the female version of the IC3. This is technically female because the copper is, or the gold, and this good gold plated copper is technically pointed towards you, okay? Because it's a socket. I don't have to explain anymore.
Got it.
So the male version of the connector, which is what's in the airplanes, I don't ever get them anymore because I saved the planes. So that would be the end I would need to go with this if I wanted to preserve the smart lead and everything, right? So I can't do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna take this, and what's cool about the IC connectors is you can break these things off of here by popping them down. It's challenging to do, but you can do it. And so for those of you that haven't actually done this yet, I'm just gonna go through this process real quick. So I like to have the right adapters, and then I keep them forever.
Shocking.
I know, camera crew knows. So if you just rock this back and forth, you can actually pull that back, no damage at all, okay? And there you go. So all we have to do is desolder this, because we're gonna save that for later. There's no reason to get rid of it. And then I don't need to desolder anything else. I just don't want to cut the wire. I'll keep the wire for later if I ever decide to use the smart circuit for something else. Like if the world's come to an end and I need a smart chip.
Yeah.
So then the other half of the equation is of course going to be what I'm receiving, which in this case an EC3 will do that until such a time as I can get a proper IC3, and then I'll be able to get my data lead. I did build an adapter a while back that worked for my helicopters, and that was a weird one that I built because I wanted to be able to use, this was for an EC3. This is the hot commodity I was talking about. It's hard to find these things actually, okay? And then this. So I built that so that I could fly the S230 with a different battery. Now, there are other adapters out there too that would look something like this. That would be ideal in this circumstance, but I just don't happen to have one right now in that particular size class. So as a result, that means I'm stuck building one. I don't know what just fell, but something just fell.
In the tin.
So if we look at this, if you do this, this is the easiest way to do it. You want to take something that's not actually a live battery, like an extension cord, hold it the right way so you know what you're dealing with, okay? And you can tell you need what looks like this. You're like, wow, that looks like a brushless motor. Yep, that's the other reason I show you this, is because if you have a crash plane, there's a good chance you have a brushless motor on it. And guess what? You can many times grab that and you can cut it right off, okay? And there you go. You can build yourself an adapter in a pinch. Obviously, you can just go buy the thing if you want. There's an adapter out there, okay? So I usually put them together to make sure I'm gonna be good. And then I make sure that I'm gonna be good by taking this connector and making sure that it fits. And sure enough, by golly, gee golly, it's gonna fit. And then I take and I put this over here, and then I put all this other crap away, and by movie magic, we are going to pause the video and clean it up. I just realized I forgot to show this. This is the IC3. I've got the back peeled back still. And you see this? This is the EC5, okay? Or I'm sorry, IC5.
Yep.
Okay, and then that just goes like that. And you see the smart pin just misses. So later on, when I have a smart plane that has the data lead and I find one of these in that style, then I can just build this adapter a little bit different. But I wanted to show you that because I didn't show you that earlier. Next up, soldering. All right, so just to be clear, if you don't have the skills, the means, the time, whatever, I mean, it's not hard to do this. It's just, you know, it is a skill that you have to have. Don't forget to get the adapter if you buy this plane and you're using an EC3 battery, because you're not gonna be able to put an EC3 in there. You will have to build something, okay? So yes, you could also just put an the other type of EC3 on that plane and you'd be fine, or an IC, but that's the one that's hard to come by, okay? So you see this? I'm holding it like this. I'm just simulating if that were built, you would actually slip this in and it snaps in, okay? Some of them snap in from the other side. I honestly cannot remember on this one. I think I have to feed the wire through first, okay? So as you can see, I'm taking both of these out, just kind of hanging onto them so they come out easy. Soldering iron's getting hot. If you guys don't know how to solder, just remember, it's not that hard, but just don't burn yourself. And if you're a kid, get help. It's not something you just do on your own, because you can, you know, catch fire to stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. So I'm gonna just dip this in flux to get a little bit clean. I've got this tip cleaner, which is so dirty. I need to replace it so bad. And so I just have stainless steel wool here because I'm a cheapskate. So you see this? I'm just gonna hold this in here and just desolder this. So a little bit of flux is all we really need to break that free. And we'll use a little bit of fresh solder, actually. We'll get a little fresh solder on there. You're gonna probably have to be on the other side to be able to see anything. Over my right shoulder, there you go, like this. Because that's where I'm looking. Okay, you see that? So I just heat it, and then there it goes, right? So now I can save this smart circuit for later, if I decide to use it. Isn't that cool? That's how it auto balances and auto discharges. I think this is from a Gen 2 pack, because there's no bounce lead. Just a piece of foam there too. Okay, so now let's continue looking at this, guys. Obviously I want to retain this so that we can put that back on at the end. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean that up a little bit. You see how that's dull? I like to leave that shiny even if it's not connected to anything. I'm just gonna heat it up real quick. Heat it up real quick. And there's a little bit of junk from there that popped over on it, and that's fine, okay? Because then once that cools, I can just knock it off like that, okay? All right, so this side's basically done for all intents and purposes. Now just remember, smart batteries have weird colors, so orange is positive, and you can see that here denoted with a plus and then a minus. That's not a seam from the molding, that's just a minus sign, okay? All right, so we'll just slide this down there. Now all I've got to do is just take this, and I want this to be an adapter. I don't want this to, like, you know, go to the moon. So I do want to shorten this a little bit, but it has to be long enough to be able to slide this up and down and get the leads on. I'm going to build this the way I think it goes, and then I'm probably going to get it wrong because some of these slip in from the back and they snap. Some of them slip in from the front and they snap. But I remember a long time ago, I struggled with these and the EC, or those HXT 4.5 millimeters. Because I was doing it backward, okay? Goodness gracious. I haven't built a connector forever. Okay, so this is huge wire, and that's good because we want to try to retain as much current throughput as we can get away with, okay? That's about as short as you can get away with, I believe. And I'm hoping that fits through, which doesn't look like it's gonna fit through now. Dang. That's what I was afraid of with this wire. Because if you see here, that's 10 American wire gauge, 10 AUG, and this is 12 AUG, okay? So if this goes through, that'd be all hunky-dory, but I don't think we're gonna get that lucky. Dang. Because that would be really nice if I could use that 10 gauge wire. It's like really robust, super strong stuff. So my next thing I'm gonna try is I'm just gonna see if I can build this thing and then push it in from the rear here and see if it'll go in until it snaps. But that means you gotta keep this without getting solder on it. Up on the sides here, okay? So I'm gonna hang on to it way back at the back, and I wanna close these, but I don't wanna deflect this and make it weird shaped. So you don't wanna go any harder than you have to. But that'll help dissipate some of the heat, okay? So now you can use strippers if you have the right size strippers, but this is pretty huge. So you see what I'm saying? It's way too big. You know, you can't use these particular strippers. But you can go around and bite a bunch of times, and that'll kind of start it. The silicone stuff cuts pretty easy with a knife though. So in my experience, it's easier to just take the sharp knife and go around the edge and just peel it off like that, okay? This thing's gonna get hot as a mofo when you heat this up with solder. So just be aware, you're heating this whole length. You don't wanna get burned, and you also don't want it to delaminate it, or not delaminate, but desolder inside of here and you can't see. Okay, so look at this. This thing's gonna fill that whole opening up. You see that? It's full, guys. But that's actually not so bad. I'm actually really happy with the way that fits. I just hope I can ram it in there, right?
Yeah, you better hope.
Better hope. All right, guys, so here goes nothing. So now you see I got toothpicks all over here to stab myself with. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this flux. Again, in staying true form to being cheapskate, I just buy the stuff from the plumbing aisle. And plus it's kind of hard to find the stuff that is designated for soldering. Look how terrible that tip looks. Won't look terrible after I do this and put all the poisonous gases into our living room. I mean, totally innocuous, non-deadly chemical gases,
Thanks.
honey.
Appreciate
in your kitchen.
That. Yeah.
Don't worry, they won't kill our children at all much. Okay, so there's that. So we just heated that up a little bit. Now I'm just gonna tin it, but just very, very little teeny tiny bit, okay? Because I don't wanna fill the whole entire opening. I won't be able to get that wire in there, okay?
Right.
So what I wanna do is I wanna basically get this angle such that when I line this up, it's all in a relaxed position. I don't want it to have to be making a weird angle. So I'm gonna relax that bite and then turn it. See how I relaxed it on the forceps? Bent tip forceps are the way to go if you're getting forceps. You see what I'm talking about? Now it's full enough I can't quite get it in there. Dang it, I was afraid that would happen. I wanted to get a little bit in, but I can't even get a little bit in, so I'm gonna have to clean that out and then whack it down. You remember my one objective there, camera crew?
What? To be able to get it in the hole?
Well, yeah. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, to be able to not get solder on the outside of it either. Do you remember that earlier?
I do, now that you say that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna try to walk that in. You see how nice that is? See how clean that is? So now what I need to do, see how it's at a little bit of an angle? I'm not a big fan of that, but it'll be okay. It's gonna be okay. You see, I've only got that little teeny tiny bit of access to the copper.
Yeah.
Like, how the heck am I gonna get in there with that heat?
That's what I was wondering.
So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do it this way, the wrong way. Get that tip nice and clean. Oh man, that's gonna be awkward as all get out. See, I've got enough room to get that really thin thing of solder in there, but then I have to try to heat it without getting the solder to come out there. And there's not much room for the solder to actually go in. Normally you solder like this, you'll get a little bit of solder on the tip and you heat it by transmitting through that. I'm specifically trying to avoid getting solder on the outside here. So I'll have to just clean it when I'm done. There's no getting around it. But you're gonna add a little bit of thickness no matter how you slice it. Okay. There we go. See how I'm feeding it in real slow? You're gonna have to go to a wider angle if they can see that.
I'm zoomed.
See how my thumb's getting closer and closer? Now I have to get a new bite of it. And that thing is probably getting really hot. See it? See it bubbling up? See what's going on, folks? And just let it wick in there. This is Kester Rosin Core 44, which means lead 60 or lead's 40 and then silver 60 or something like that. I don't know, 10, I don't know. You guys know better than I do. I just do this on TV. Except it's not even TV. It's downgraded TV. Okay, so that's hot, 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 hot. Feel it. See? That's hot.
Yeah.
So now that big, huge, thickness there is going to be a problem. It's going to be hard to clean that. So what do we do to clean something like that? We use some desoldering braid. And we'll see if we can get it. Probably this is going to be a questionable thing, so I'll probably try to stick the first one in before we continue to the second one, okay?
Oh, okay.
Make sure it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, then we can go to a smaller size wire. Okay, so watch this. You ever seen desoldering braid work, camera crew?
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Last time you used it.
Last time I soldered?
No, I don't think you use it. I've only seen you use it a couple of times.
I use it once in a while.
I've never seen anybody solder except for you.
I'm glad we share that exclusivity. Oh, that thing is so dang hot now. Because that wire is very conductive because it's huge and that's how it deals with all the current. You guys may hear the frog in my throat. I think we're just getting done with it. Again.
Hopefully.
Finally. It's been kind of one of those years. Colds every 5 minutes because it's, you know, during COVID, that's what you want. Because it's like everybody doesn't get excited at all about that sort of thing. Okay, so we'll clean that tip off. Ooh, nice and clean. Look how clean that is. Nope. Ooh, much cleaner.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
How does that not melt the solder on the inside? Or does it? And it doesn't matter?
It does, but it's already wicked into position, so it takes a little bit more heat to make that, you know, kind of melt out. And it has to have somewhere to go. So if it's got nowhere to go, see, the problem is, my concern is that this ring has been filled in now, so it may not bite the retention ring. Yes. So we'll see. That's going to be a really solid electrical connection, but it may not be a very solid mechanical connection. And so you have to use your best judgment. Now, normally I would use some alcohol to wipe this down, but since I don't have alcohol close by, that is so dang hot right now. Holy crappers. I'm probably going to need to grab this with something so it can cool down. Like that.
You want me to go grab alcohol?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm just going to wipe it. I'm just going to wipe it dry and get all the flux off.
Oh.
See?
Yeah.
Should be good enough. Okay. See that? I think it's so dang hot still. Okay, so now this is obviously the positive side. Okay, so now if there were any doubt if this would work, imagine this was a battery, but this one isn't going to electrocute us or catch on fire. Oh yeah, it's going to fit. That's good. All right, so this is a positive side. Now the cool thing about ECs is that you can actually, see there's a positive mark? You can actually spin these after you get them in. So I'm going to try to press it in and see if this goes. Oh, please go. Please go. I think it's going to go, but when I press it, I'm going to have to press it with a tool. That would be probably a flat-bladed screwdriver like this. Let's see if this works. Like this. Why that tool? Because it'll fit into the inside of this connector. Oh, like in the little notch. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm going to push this down. Okay, so we just push that in, and then now I believe this is designed to actually be pulled in from the other side, but I should be able to get it to go. It's just harder this way. I know, I'm waiting for myself to get stabbed too.
Yeah, okay. Let's check in.
See, that just doesn't want to stay in there very good. I'm going to spin it and try again. So folks, if you're watching this thinking, I thought this was an unbox. Well, this is kind of, popped.
Yep,
okay?
I heard it.
So now I can just rotate this when I'm ready, wherever it needs to rotate. And look at this, guys, watch this. We'll test it.
Yay.
Okay, so now we just have to do the other side real quick. So the method worked. It wasn't ideal because this wire was probably just a bit too big, but now we don't compromise on a thing except for the data line and the fact that I had to do it. So other than those things and other compromises that we also made, we didn't have to compromise that much. Okay.
Are we gonna show them the other side?
Yeah, this is some exciting stuff,
Oh, sorry,
Megan. Goodness gracious.
I mean, I was excited.
I know you were.
Wanted to share it with you.
So, the other day we had some trolls on the channel. It was pretty exciting.
Oh.
And they were complaining about how I call you camera crew. So let's just go over this again for the 4,000th
We get
time.
into that.
So back in the day when we were a channel that was much smaller, what we have like at the time, maybe 1,000 people or whatever.
Maybe, I don't know.
It was just like a big funny joke that it was just the camera crew. Like it was a whole crew of people and it was just Megan.
Right.
And everybody always knew it. And back in the day when people had common sense, they understood that that was just a stupid joke. You know, it wasn't supposed to be some big thing or like,
It's not some like
I hate
derogatory
women and
term.
I don't love my wife
Yeah.
of like 18 years that I have 4 children with, you know, that works with me almost every day, constantly to help us produce these awesome videos. Like I'm demeaning to her. I couldn't believe it. And anyway, so we had this little interaction and I'm thinking to myself, you got to be kidding me, people. So anyway, it's dealing with trolls on YouTube. It's like the spice of life. You know, we have so many amazing supportive people on this channel, but then you'll get people like that and you're like, what is wrong with you idiots? And so anyway, and the premise of their argument was that like somehow I was, you know, treating Megan bad because I called her camera crew.
Right. Okay, and then can I say the other thing?
Yeah, the other thing.
I don't want to be on camera. Like, this is not my thing. I'm on this side of the camera, and this is what I'm good at doing.
She likes it that way.
And that's the way I choose it. It's not like I'm stuck over here. I'm sorry. I know it's driving you nuts, I can tell.
For those of you that begged for lapel mics for years.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Like, the channel is called Brian Phillips RC.
What?
Because it's
Hold on a second.
Brian, not me.
Hold on a second.
I have my own channel, and I choose when I'm on that.
So
like,
it's not just because I'm an egomaniac
right. No,
jerk that hates his wife
right.
that's perfect? Okay. I couldn't figure it out. I needed some 20-year-old chick to tell me all about it.
So in case people weren't sure, I'd prefer to be over here and not over there. You don't want to watch me solder. It's fine. Like it's
whatever.
I'm really good at it, but I don't.
That would be cool. You would be the star of the show all of a sudden. Okay, so
I can
guys,
cook you dinner, but I cannot
let's look at this, guys.
solder your connector.
See this? Let's solder my connector. See this? See how it's opened? See how it's closed? See how it kind of slides in there?
Oh, yeah.
We're bottomed out. That's what we want. But then I need to turn it a little bit so I can get the solder to go in there.
Just so you have room.
Okay, so do the extreme super close-up camera crew.
I'm going to.
In demeaning way.
Yes.
Camera crew.
Jeez, I can't believe you would ask me to do something.
I know, it's terrible. So anyway, guys, if you know, little snapshot into life, there's nothing quite like dealing with completely just insane people.
Well, and the other thing is, while you're soldering, if you would like to go ahead and record yourself interacting with your spouse for like hours and hours and hours and hours
more than hours too, because what are we up to, like almost 2,000 videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd like to do that,
and please don't ever say anything in any sort of
with a tone.
Snarky tone.
Oh, I can't believe you stood in front of me, camera crew. So anyway, guys, that was our rebuttal. And this is what we live with every day. And we try to kind of like put the fires out before they become fires. But goodness gracious, people, come on now.
But we say all that to say, like, we get so many positive comments.
Yeah,
it's crazy like sometimes to read comments. But
negative troll comments. But it's weird though, because when you're working your butts off doing stuff like this, and then you've got that like one person or 2 people out of like weeks of positive things, it still annoys the heck out of you.
Well,
me.
Yeah, it does. We
So,
know,
yeah.
we understand our relationship.
But that's okay, because I win.
True.
I win. How do I win, Megan?
Well, I mean, it's our channel.
See this?
Wait,
Look at
hold
that.
on. No, I'm not focused.
That looks absolutely terrible. You know why?
Why?
Because I need to wick it in more. And here's how you can tell. See right there? You can see there's no solder wicked in there. So I need to, and then I need to try to get all that solder out of that groove. So this is part of the reason why when I'm choosing between connectors that I hate, ECs are at the top of the list. ICs are not bad at all. Because you just slide this thing back and it's just like doing an XT60. Which actually, the new XT60s are even more good. But like, even on the small ones, they have that pullback thing here, which is super nice if you guys ever have to work with them. EC connectors are the bane of my connector existence. And I build a lot of connectors for work and professionally. And it's, I mean, I don't think it's hard. It's just hard to get them to be as nice as you want them to be. Because my expectations are like a mile high, of course. And so anyway, so that's a little 5-minute story time with Brian as he's soldering the black wire. Oh, and then also, for those of you that weren't aware, we're kind of working with the power company right now. Do you see how much I just put in there?
Yeah, that was
Isn't
a lot.
that crazy?
But I feel like you put a ton in on the other side.
Well, it's a big wire.
Yeah.
It's probably going to wick it way back here. But the trouble is now I got to solder a lot.
Yeah, but you did on the other side too, and then it looked fine. It worked.
I know, there's a lot. Okay, so now there's another trick. If you're not in your kitchen, then you can take and heat this up and then just kind of fling it. The problem is your end is going to want to pop off of there.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah, please don't do that in my kitchen.
I'm just going to do this and see if I can drip off some of it. Yeah, my hair's getting way too long. It's driving me nuts.
And for whoever asked the other day, we do cook in our kitchen. It's not just for building airplanes.
We do a lot of airplane stuff in here,
We
but
do.
Megan is a good cook too. You guys don't know that. Ugh.
Gosh.
I don't want it to fling off of there.
I just don't want you to get burned.
There we go. See how it's rocking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so normally there's a wick hole in there where you can kind of take out the excess solder. And so what we've done here is we've shown lots of examples of what not to do when soldering if you want good results. Not the least of which is the fact that this is just, this type of connector is really just doesn't do super good in this configuration. So in case you guys are wondering, that's going to be extremely hot. Oh my goodness, I'm like, ugh, it already hurts. And I've seen a lot of guys that solder and they grab the wire with their forceps.
Ooh.
And I'm like, geez, how do you not put a hole in the wire? So this thing is like 1,000,000 degrees. So I'm going to hold on to it here and just bite that there because that won't hurt us. And then that'll give me something to brace. And you can also do some other tricks like this where, you know how there's a lock on some of these strippers? This is like a Craftsman pair we've had for 1,000,000 years. But you can actually, sometimes you can bite like one tool on another. And then you can make like a makeshift stand or rest. Yeah, it would work perfect just like that. Or you can, I mean, just whatever gets a job done. It's temporary. So our cat needed out. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna heat this up a lot more. And I just want this to sit like that. I just need something so I can push against it without it burning me. See how dirty that tip is already? It's crazy, when you let it get super hot like that, you have to go at it with a lot of flux, in my experience. Especially when you let your tips stay hot really a long time. That's what destroys my tips.
Can you replace just the tip?
Yeah. I have like a whole tip set right there. I have other soldering irons too, but this 40-watt Weller has been really a good soldering iron. And some of you guys like the gun style. I hate the gun style. This is just, it's the pencil style for me is the only way to do it. And this tip is probably more of like a medium, like it kind of does all size. Instead of, you know, if you get a real sharp tip, you'll ruin that tip in like just a few minutes of keeping it hot. Oops, slipped. Oh, that's so hot over here. Oh my goodness. Because it's transmitting the heat right through the connector. That's what it's supposed to do. You got to think about the amount of current that's actually going through this thing when you're flying. It's incredible. That's part of the reason why you got to make sure you get this done right. Because if you don't, it's just going to melt the connection. So this part of the video, we're going to have to intro this and put this at the end because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, probably.
These stupid connectors always kind of take longer than I think they're going to take. And you see how much buildup there is? Just having a really hard time getting that. My wick is not picking up well, and I think I have an idea. Okay. I'm going to take and squish this so that it gets a little wider to maximize the surface area. You can also just use wire to, you know, act as a wick. You see how that's a little bit thicker now? See how I'm pulling it tight? That's what I wish I could do, but you only have so many hands when you're soldering.
Right.
And I've tried using helping hands. They don't help me that much. They usually just get in the way, in my experience. I know some of you guys use them a lot. Oh yeah, that cleaned that out nicely on this side. I'm actually gonna try to use a little bit of flux in there too this time, which is unusual, but I'll try it. Ooh yeah, that worked really nice. You do have to be a little bit careful too, because what'll happen is if you get any solder down into this spinny part, it'll make it work like crap.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
So don't do that if you're soldering while I'm at work.
I'm taking notes.
Good. Come on. Boy, it's just not being very nice. That ridge is filled in just terribly too. You see that? I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Let's see if this wick is just not acting right. Man, that wick is extremely hot. You guys see my dilemma. I'm sure it's probably pretty obvious. We could just try see if it'll go in there. But you see our problem is that now we've got that solder on the outside. And so that sharp edge that we kind of need is filled in with...
It's very sharp.
Yep. And so it's just going to slip right out. Let's try another thing. I hate grabbing the tip of this because those spinny things, this is probably really hot. The spinny things will actually sometimes break.
Oh.
Yeah, so you got to be careful. If you look close, you can see the seam right there where they wrap it around. And if I grab the tip, that's, you know, not going to compress, but it's really a pretty small spot to hang on to. Okay, so let's try this. So for those of you that don't do a lot of soldering, you may not have an appreciation for what's going on. But if you're into this hobby, it is really nice to be able to solder. Like there's some times when you'll need to solder to do things properly. And then there's other times when it's just, you know, a little bit cheaper because you can go and purchase the kit version instead of the one that's like ready to, like a bind and fly or a plug and fly sort of configuration. Which those of you that are new to the channel, if you didn't already know this, we do all types of finish levels, but we don't do near as many ARFs, which is almost ready to fly, which I think they should rename that to not even close to ready to fly. Yeah. And then you old timers that are just getting back into the hobby are like, whatever, Brian, they are almost ready to fly compared to a kit. I agree. Compared to a balsa wood kit, absolutely. Okay, so you see it's just not on the heat very much. There we go. But I did get it cleaned up quite a bit on that side now. See that? Cool. Okay, I think that might be good enough. Okay. So I'm going to let that cool for just a second. I think it's about time we just clip off that used part of the wick. That's pretty much garbage. We gotta save this, is important. We'll definitely use that someday.
For sure.
Okay, so now, and the sun is just getting ready to encroach on our video area. So you wanna show them real close up here, what this looks like now. Just cleaning this nicely. Still extremely hot, just kind of shining it up a little bit. You want to get all the flux off of there. And you can see all those black marks that I just made. Okay, so when the black marks stop, then you probably got it good enough. See, still black marks. That could be a lead mark. See, nice and pretty. That should go in there. I think we're gonna be okay. So now this one just goes here. I'm gonna press it tight against the counter. And then I'm gonna pull this up just a little bit so I can get the edge into this little gap. Okay. Then I'm gonna push into the copper, square, and down. And it just popped. Yep. Man, it's weird how it bends. You see that? Mm-hmm. Like twists and spins. But if you did it right, then you should be able to plug that in and take power from your small battery. Now, I've been needing to build this exact adapter ever since we did the P40 from FMS. But guess what? We ended up using the 5000, and so it worked out fine. So we're gonna take a minute, clean up our soldering stuff, and come right back.